Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Konoha reads Naruto and rwby harem. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by the virtual writer and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Crash. Fuck, Naruto shouted in frustration. All he wanted to do was go to an island and train and sleep. All was well until he came across some guys led by a red-haired dude with scars on his left eye. Upon seeing him, Naruto admitted he knew a kid that the whole crew saw as a member of the family. He could tell because the red-haired leader called for a party. Naruto got up, dusting himself off. Drink more, they said. Go into that temple, they said. Don't worry, we got your back, they said. That portal opened up and that fucker thought it would be a good joke to trip me. Naruto analyzed his surroundings. He was in a modern society from what he could tell from the buildings. What is this? The seventh one? Naruto had been going through dimensions. What made it worst was it was on purpose the first two times. The others were all because Lady Luck hated him in all aspects but gambling. He had been in a place where Shinigami fought evil spirits, aliens turned into giant monkeys that yelled for hours to charge an attack, a place where master-class martial artists may have well been gods with how they dodge bullets, ran on water and blew people away with the air from their fist, another where there was a tournament and something about Fist of Iron, and the latest that he was kicked out of was a place where pirates were the majority. He was part of a crew led by an immature but very strong guy with a straw hat. Naruto waited and was surprised when the nausea didn't come up. Usually whenever he went through a dimension he needed to blarg. There it was. Naruto stood straight and took deep breaths. He had to lean on something and put his hand on a dumpster for balance. That was when said dumpster caved in from Naruto's lean. He already understood, he trained with many people in the many different worlds, what didn't change over time was his strength. That stayed with him. Naruto looked down sadly. He didn't though. As a result of old age, Kurama had dispersed and became a part of Naruto. Along with Kurama's, or what he was known before as the Kyuubi, power going into Naruto, his knowledge did too. He was able to remember his father fighting the masked man, analyzing his moves, and trained to use his father's signature flying thunder god technique. Strangely, what made it through all of his travels through dimensions were his steel boxing gloves. Literally steel, not plated but made specifically for him by a master of weapons from the martial arts world. His thoughts were quickly interrupted by a rather large man behind him calling. Hey you. Empty your pockets, you dirty Franus. What the hell type of name is thy eye? Holy crap, I have tails. Naruto said, turning around and finally noticing them. Naruto was scared, then noticed he could control them and rolled around like a baby with a new toy, leaving the man confused. I said empty your pockets. Naruto used a tail to smack him in the face. Did you just hit me in the face with your tail? Naruto smirked and hit the man with a flurry of punches all from his tails and knocked the man out. Well, the guy called me a faunus. I'm gonna take a wild guess that it's a discriminatory term used against people who are part animal. I'll take this guy's clothes and use my tails to disguise me as a big-boned individual. Damn, I'm good. Naruto still wasn't used to the intelligence gained from Kurama. Having initiated his plan, he exited the alley. He analyzed the streets before hearing a loud crash. He looked to his left and saw men being thrown out of a store, followed by a teenage girl stepping out. The girl must have been in love with the fairy tale of Little Red Riding Hood because her outfit and look gave that idea. The girl reached to her side and grabbed a black object. Wonder what that is. The object suddenly unfolded and revealed itself to be a very large scythe. Oh. Well then. Naruto watched as the girl dispatched each thug that went after her, then she slammed the blade part of the scythe into the floor and shot. Did her scythe just shoot? It was then he noticed a man with orange hair and a bowling hat was slowly walking towards her before raising his cane, as if he was aiming at her. The bottom of his cane opened up and he pulled the trigger. The girl had noticed late and prepared herself for an impact that never came. She looked up to a large hooded figure in front of her. Oh hey there Tubby, if you'd kindly move I can shoot again. You know, it's dangerous shooting these things. Naruto said coolly, revealing the bomb in his hands, somehow not setting it off. They hurt people. Here, have it back. Naruto said, throwing the bomb back pretty hard. The orange-haired guy dodged and shot the floor, making a cloud of dust. When the dust cleared, the man was gone. Looking around, Naruto sniffed and turned to see the man climbing to the top of a building. Naruto ran with the girl in tow, quickly climbing up the building. The man whistled. You're no average fatty. That was a quick climb. The man joked. Naruto chuckled, then looked at the girl behind him. Can't your scythe shoot? What are you waiting for? Oh, right. The girl said, shook up. In her defense, she almost got blown up and just saw a rather large-bodied man climb a 3-story building in less than 4 seconds. She began to set up before the guy spoke up. Oh. Well, I can't have that now, can I? he said, stepping off the building but coming up in a large cargo plane. It really was fun. Now I bid you fair. The plane tried to raise before it was stopped, causing the man to nearly fall. What the hell? He looked back at the two and saw a woman with blonde hair walking forward. Crap. The man went to the pilot. We got a huntress. The woman in the pilot seat got out and switched with the man, going to the back. She began shooting blast of fire at the three on the building, all of which were deflected by the blonde revealed to be a huntress. At the price of safety, the criminals got away. The teenage girl jumped at the blonde woman. Oh my god. You're a huntress. Can I have your autograph? Boom. Both the teenage girl and Naruto were in an interrogation room in the Vale City Police Department. Oh hey. So that's what this place is called. Naruto thought, giving the seat to the girl and resting against the wall. The girl was giving glances at Naruto, who was hooded but otherwise didn't say anything. She looked incredibly shy and Naruto's look didn't help. The blonde lady was also there giving the girl a lecture and attempting to lecture Naruto, who didn't seem to care, which irked the blonde even more. He suddenly looked up and at the door. Someone's here. He said. The girl looked at him questionably as the blonde woman looked at him, shocked for knowing before the door opened and in walked a gray-haired man with a coffee cup. He questioned the girl and revealed he was Professor Osborne, the headmaster of Beacon, the best academy for molding young hunters and huntresses. The blonde's name was Glinda Goodwitch and was Osborne's assistant, and the girl's name was Ruby Rose. All three, having given their names, looked towards Naruto expectingly. Naruto, seeing what was going on, decided to let his ninja side take over and let out his analyzing skills and little information. Naruto Uzumaki. Osborne noticed that was all they'd get, so he asked another question. So Mr. Uzumaki, when did you begin combat training? Probably around the same time you started being paranoid. They all looked at him surprised. Modafinil. It's in your coffee. Judging from the fact you're now a headmaster at a school, you're not an active hunter anymore. I've seen war. Once someone's been in a life or death situation, they never let it down. Always wants to be alert, never wants to lose someone again. So the real question would be, when did one or all of your team die? The room became deathly silent. All eyes on Naruto, except for Ruby's wide eyes going back and forth. It was then that something happened that hadn't happened in a very long time. Osborne laughed, a real genuine laugh, and looked back at Naruto. You've seen war. Judging from your tone, you're being protective and don't want to be hurt again. I'd say you're about 16 running on 17. Being changed by war. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you were very outgoing before the war, in which friends and good people died. I'd label you a Libra, putting your birthday in October. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Naruto twitched. 10th. October 10th. From the fact your stomach moved irregularly, I'd say you aren't actually overweight. Naruto shifted his tails once more, seeming like his stomach moved, mockingly. Touché. Naruto said, chuckling. He couldn't contain his amusement at losing in an analyzation match. Now I change my question. Osborne said, looking back to Ruby and again back at Naruto. Would you two like to attend Beacon? Chapter 2. Welcome to Beacon. Cool, they got airships. Naruto thought in the back of the balloon. He had seen many faces on there, being the first one on before the door even opened. Thank Kami for his stealth skills. He was still dressed in the large hoodie and sweats that made him seem fat, and with his posture seeming very angry, causing people to steer clear of him. He saw Ruby greeted with a huge hug by a busty blonde who wore rather revealing clothes. Meh. If it's what she's comfortable in, more power to her. I can't judge, it's hot as all hell here, wish I could be comfortable. They were greeted by Glinda on the large hologram TV in the airship. She's surprisingly nice when she isn't lecturing in the police department. Naruto accidentally said out loud, gaining looks from many other teens. Did you hear that? He was at the police department. He probably got caught doing something by her and she brought him in. Wow, he really is dangerous. Many of the teens were whispering, or attempting to, amongst themselves. Ruby heard and looked. Oh hey, I know him. Ruby said to herself. The blonde girl next to her said, that's great. Now you know more people. Let's go meet him. She said happily, while dragging Ruby. Wait. Yang, I don't know him like that. Hi there. My name is Yang Xiaolong. This is my sister Ruby Rose. I heard you met her before. Naruto looked up to the blonde and Ruby. Yeah, met her last night. She's pretty handy with that side gun thing. Naruto spoke in a soft voice, surprising the teens around who were making assumptions. Naruto chuckled. What's funny? Yang asked. Well, I've been discriminated against all my life, but in nearly all of the places I've been to there was always a single person who actually came and bothered to know me before making accusations. Hearing this made the teens who were talking about him sink low. They hadn't even spoke to him and they were trying to label him a criminal and dangerous. Never really cared for bullshit reasons like looks tubby. Tubby? Naruto asked. She's just teasing. She likes giving nicknames. Plus he hasn't given me his real name. Ah. Right, my bad, I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Yang broke out laughing, falling over and pointing at Naruto. Fish cake. Your name is Fish cake. Naruto grew a comical tick mark that somehow showed over his hood. My name means maelstrom. I'm not a fish cake. Yang finally stood up, wiping a tear from under her eye. Ah, whatever you say, fish cake. The balloon had touched down and the three got out. Ruby immediately began to fangirl over everyone's weapons. Oh my gosh. That guy has a flame sword. That girl has a bazooka hammer. Squeal, she has the latest model of the X-Cannon 4000. She was about to run after the weapons before Yang grabbed her collar to stop her. Ruby, it's great you want to know more about weapons, but you should use that effort to make friends. Why do I need friends? I have you. Plus Naruto's here. She said, turning and seeing Naruto already walking off. Wait. Naruto, I have a huge favor to ask. Can you stick with Ruby? Yang asked. Wait, asking something like that means you won't be here. My friends are here. Bye. Yang said, bolting off. She do that often? Naruto asked Ruby. Yeah, she does. Ruby said. Naruto suddenly felt something hook his arm. Is that a leash? Naruto asked Ruby. Yep. You're not leaving my side, that is. Naruto flexed his arm and broke the leash. Yeah, I don't do leashes. Ruby walked around with Naruto before she bumped into a bunch of suitcases that nearly blew her off the campus. Ah. Naruto. Why didn't you tell me? What are you doing? Naruto and Ruby looked to a girl with white hair and white formal clothing. You nearly killed all of us. She said with a vial of dust in her hand. Naruto learned enough about this world to know that dust was a very dangerous thing to play with. He suddenly jumped and grabbed the vial from the girl's hand that began to let go in the middle of a sneeze. You know, if you're gonna yell at someone about being alert, you should probably make sure you have everything in check. Naruto said playfully. The white-haired girl was about to yell at Naruto before he interrupted, and if I'm going to get yelled at, I'd like to know who it is that's yelling at me. Why Schnee? Youngest daughter to the CEO of the Schnee Dust Company. A company widely known for being the biggest dust distributors. Finally some recognition. The white-haired girl exclaimed. A black-haired girl walked towards the three. She wore a white blouse under a black coat along with a black skirt and black high heels. And also known for their questionable partnerships with shady figures. You look like a Blake. I'm gonna say your name is Blake. Naruto said. If the look the girl was giving meant anything, he'd say he was right. Naruto actually surprised himself. He was really just guessing and he was correct. Blake quickly got into a combat stance. How do you know my name? Ahahaha, I actually got that right. I just took a wild guess. Blake stayed in her stance for a short time. She got up when she sensed that Naruto was truthfully speaking. Who is this guy? What's weird is he smells like a faunus but doesn't give off any pheromones. Plus there's a weird mix with the fauna smell. Blake thought to herself. Naruto noticed her bow wiggle and saw Ruby and Weiss back to arguing, so he looked back at Blake and playfully shifted his tails, making it seem like his stomach was moving irregularly. Blake's eyes grew wide while Naruto just chuckled and walked off. Ruby, we should go. Orientation is in a little bit. Oh. I forgot about that. Ruby ran to catch up with Naruto and the two walked off, leaving Weiss and Blake staring at their backs. I can tell I won't get along with that idiotic girl. A very annoyed Weiss thought. Is he a faunus? Did he notice me? Blake thought. The two separated and went about their business. So Naruto, what do you use? Ruby asked, curious about weapons. What do I use? Yeah, what do you use to fight? Ruby asked, excitement at what Naruto would show her. Well, I got these. Naruto said, pulling out boxing gloves made of pure steel. Naruto casually carried them in one hand. Oh well, originals are cool too. Ruby said, a little let down. Naruto smirked and offered his hand out for Ruby to see the gloves. The second the gloves left his hand and went into Ruby's, they met the floor. Oh my gosh. Grunt, why are they so grunt heavy? That's what she said. Naruto said playfully, seeing Ruby's face turn the same color as her hood. Wow. For a 15-year-old, she's pretty damn innocent. Naruto thought, smirking. He leant over and picked up the gloves and hung them around his neck and casually walked towards the orientation hall. How do you just pick them up like nothing and wear it like it's just some necklace? Naruto called back, years of training. Come on, let's go. Naruto along with all the other first years got out of the meeting. They were escorted to the ballroom where they were given sleeping bags and pillows for the night. Naruto however went out to the balcony alone staring at the moonlight. Wow. This is really corny. I go out to the balcony, stare at the moon and remember things. All that's left is for a girl to come out and ask if everything is our. Hey Naruto, is everything alright? Oh hey. My life's officially a movie or a book on some website. Yeah, just thinking. Naruto said looking back to see Ruby in her pajamas. What you thinking about? Ruby asked. Listen Ruby, you're really cool and all, but we literally just met last night. I'm not all too good with people I just met. Didn't stop me from accepting a drink from that red-haired pirate in the past dimension though. I understand. Is that why you haven't showed your face? Naruto looked away, pulling his hood lower. Yeah. Something like that. I know that we just met last night and all, but you're technically my first friend here in Beacon. Can I at least know where you're from? Naruto stood still for a moment before deciding to answer the truth. I'm from a place called Konoha no Sat. Village hidden in tree leaves. Another voice perked up. No one still speaks that language. It's considered extinct. Extinct, huh? How do you know it then, Blake? Naruto said towards the drape on the door. Blake walked out into the light. To tell the truth, I don't. I found some incredibly old books that were once called manga. I just used context clues to find out more about the language. Ah well, it's getting late. About time we go to bed for the initiation tomorrow. Ruby yawned. You're right, I'll see you guys. Nighty-night. She said as she walked in. For a moment the door closed and Blake reached for it to go in before Naruto confirmed her earlier suspicions. You know, I don't know how you can hear with that ribbon muffling your real ears. Blake's eyes grew wide before she turned and saw Naruto wasn't there. She turned back and saw Naruto inside already walking away. Night Blake. I'm getting real tired of the fat jokes. If initiation's tomorrow, I'll just have to show them who they're gonna be dealing with. Might score me some points to graduate early or something. Naruto thought as he got into his nice comfy spot, making sure none was around before he used two of his tails as pillows. Yawn, tomorrow's gonna be fun. Naruto smirked thinking of everyone's faces when he reveals his tails. Chapter 3. Initiation. Naruto woke up before anyone else, which was surprising to see since he woke up before some of the widely proclaimed prodigies. He estimated since it was 3 o'clock, he'd go to the school's built-in gym and get some training in, though he doubted the weights provided would give a challenge. He made his way to the gym, passing the professor who had watched over them through the night. Heh, Vale's finest hunters huh? He chuckled to himself, leaving quietly. Not quietly enough to elude the attention of Blake, who didn't sleep to see the teen and quietly gave chase. Naruto had gotten into the gym with Blake quietly in tow, believing herself one with the shadow. What she didn't know was she was following a ninja. You could only do that if they wanted to be followed. Someone's gonna get pranked for thinking she's slick. He thought. Blake never noticed another Naruto, the real Naruto, behind her watching with a smirk. For a cat, her reflexes sure are slow. Then again, I am a trained ninja. Naruto walked into the gym and mockingly looked left and right to pretend to check if anyone was looking. He then took off his hood, revealing fox ears and his blonde mess of hair, while turning right to let Blake see the whisker marks. From afar Blake's eyes grew wide, but never once left the side of the blonde. Naruto then took off his sweater, slowly unraveling not one, but 9 tails from his body. Blake's eyes, if at all possible, grew wider, while she also blushed from the look of the teen in question. She nearly let out a yelp when she heard a voice. Yo Blake, what are you doing out here? Blake turned to see Naruto, looking just as he did with the hoodie on and all. Blake's mouth opened and she looked back towards the gym. The Naruto inside the gym looked back at her and waved with a smirk. She looked back to the real Naruto and then back again at the gym. Dismiss, Naruto thought, and his shadow clone in the gym poofed, so Blake turned back to see nothing. She looked back to the Naruto in front of her, mouth wide open. How weird, but was all she could get out. You okay? You don't look so good, did you get any sleep? Naruto asked in a serious voice, holding the laughter back. I think I'll go to the ballroom and get some sleep. Blake said quietly and embarrassed. Yeah, it had to have been a lack of sleep. I mean, 9 tails. I read about that in one of my books, The Nine-Tailed Fox. I really need to sleep, Blake thought to herself while walking back. Naruto, however, ran as quick as he could, which was damn near the speed of light, to a desert far outside Vale, and let out roaring laughter. Holy shit, that was priceless, I thought her jaw was going to unhinge and hit the ground. Good job, number 7. Naruto said to himself. A good minute of laughter later, he decided he cooled down and went back to Beacon. Now that he had time to himself with no one to spy, he began to work out. Seeing that none of the weights could really prove a challenge, he began doing his own thing. He had 40-pound dumbbells in each tail, while having 200 pounds on his feet while upside down, holding his balance with his hands. He held it for a good 3 minutes until he heard a fairly loud sip. He dropped the weights and got into a defensive stance, looking to the entrance where he saw Professor Osborn. What the hell? I didn't even sense him. Professor Osborn merely took another sip from his coffee and spoke. Oh, don't stop your workout on my behalf. I'm fairly interested with your methods. How long have you been here? Naruto asked, still in his defensive stance. Long enough to see your little prank on Ms. Belladonna, very effective by the way. Sip, at first I believed that you just had enhanced sensors from your unique phronicide. Now I see who you truly are, Mr. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Osban said in his normal monotone voice. Naruto appeared behind Osban with a tri-tipped kunai held to his neck. Speak. Now. Osban put his hands up in defense and said, before you try anything, know that Glinda is right behind you. Naruto felt the tip of Glinda's weapon touching the back of his neck. It was then, though, that it was lowered when 7 clones surrounded her, all with kunai at lethal points. Touche, Mr. Uzumaki. All will be revealed. Look at it as a prize of sorts if you pass the initiation, which I have no doubts you will. Osban said as he slowly walked out of the gym. Glinda, however, began to move before she felt the kunais in front of her poke her. She looked down at them and then back towards Osban. Sir? Don't ask me, those are S clones. Uphind said, still walking. Mr. Uzumaki. Lower these weapons now. Glinda ordered Naruto. Naruto scoffed, he was in a good mood until that little exchange happened. He just put headphones on as he continued to train, not hearing any of the other blonde's complaints. It was a good 10 minutes before he stopped and put his clothes and disguise back on. Before he left he dispelled his clones, letting Glinda go. It was still early, so he went to the fountain at the front of the school. It was there he saw the white-haired girl from earlier, Weiss if he remembered correctly, sitting at the fountain staring at the moon. Naruto walked slowly, making no noise, and sat on the opposite side of the fountain. He didn't see a need to speak with her, so he decided to meditate there, taking in nature chakra. He noticed this world actually had large amounts of nature chakra, a little less than, if not exactly, the amount as the elemental nations. He was meditating for a good 30 minutes before he heard a girl yelp from surprise and opened his eyes to Weiss nearly falling into the fountain. He quickly weighed his pros and cons and caught Weiss, landing safely not in the water, but on it. He held her until she noticed she wasn't falling and stood her up. He walked back to his spot and continued meditating. Weiss stood in front of the man who just saved her and her designer clothes from getting drenched. From what she could tell, it was the guy who attempted to embarrass her the day before, at least she thought it was a guy from the sound of the voice. She'd know for sure if the person took off their hood. She continued to stare, earlier she thought him to be the typical hooligan, yet here he was perfectly meditating and truly seeming like one with nature. You know, it's impolite to stare. Naruto said, still meditating. How did Weiss started? Shhhhhh. It's 4 o'clock. I want to meditate. Weiss continued to stare at the guy in front of her. You didn't stand in the water, you were on top of it. Chalk it up to semblance. You're lying, that wasn't Sem. Weiss didn't finish as another Naruto knocked her out from behind. Good job number 27, you and 38 take her back to the ballroom. Don't get caught. Naruto said, still in a lotus stance. Hi. Boss. The two Narutos said, running off with Weiss. Naruto stayed there until it was time for everyone to wake up, only knowing everyone was awake or about to, because he heard the loud voice of Yang. Wake up Ruby, it's initiation day. This was followed by many surprised screams and yells, but a girlish scream could be heard above all. I swear to God if that was John, Naruto thought, awakening from his deep thoughts. While meditating, his thoughts strangely went to his homeworld's memories. He remembered the Akatsuki, the War Niji meeting his end to save him all up until his final battle with Sasuke, where they used all of their power, from the power of their own to Indra's and Ashura's power into a Rasengan and Chidori that sent Naruto to another dimension. He stood from his position and walked toward the locker room to hang out before his group was called for initiation. As he walked in, he heard Weiss talk down on John with a red-haired girl in golden Greek armor who looked torn between the two. Naruto walked forward, interrupting Weiss, and put an arm around John's shoulder. John may not be what you consider great, but as far as I've seen, he's a good friend. Top of the class or top competitor doesn't matter. Back where I'm from I was the worst. Guess what happened? I beat both my year's top student and the year before's top. John here can do the same with hard work. Naruto said confidently, bring his fist up, which John bumped with his own. That's impossible, how could the worst beat the best? Weiss half asked, half shouted at Naruto. You stop underestimating people and you'll see. Come on John, let's show her how dead lasts do things. Naruto said, making quotation marks on the dead last part. Hi. I'm Pura. The redhead finally spoke up, extending an arm to Naruto which he took. Pleasure to meet you, Naruto Uzumaki. All first-year students please head to Beacon Cliff for initiation. All first-year students head to Beacon Cliff immediately. The speaker in the locker room buzzed off. Well, you heard the magical box of speaking, I'm out. Naruto said, jogging towards the initiation R, which the others were surprised at because they had to run to keep up with him. The first years got onto the platforms on the cliff where in front of them stood Professor Osban and Glinda Goodwitch. Osban spoke first, for years you have trained to be warriors. Today your abilities will be evaluated in the Emerald Forest. Glinda stepped forward, I'm sure you all have here. Hold on. Just tell me the directions and objectives. Naruto blurted out, causing everyone to stare at him wide-eyed at the fact he interrupted one of the most strict professors in Beacon. Glinda glared and opened her mouth to tell Naruto off before Ozpin interrupted. Head north to a hidden temple where you find an artifact. Bring it back to this cliff. You also become part of a team today. I told you so. A orange-haired girl said to a guy with a pink streak in his long hair. The first person you make eye contact with will be your teammate for the next 4 years. Any other questions, Mr. Uzumaki? Ozpin asked, looking Naruto in the eyes. Why are there springs in the platforms? Naruto asked, already knowing the answer. Think of it as a head start to get closer to the temple. Naruto hopped off the platform and walked towards the edge of the cliff, kneeling down and touching the dirt, feeling the nature chakra in his sage mode. Mr. Uzumaki, are you done wasting everyone's time? Glinda asked with more than a bit of anger, having remembered the boy basically held her hostage in the gym. Naruto stayed crouched for a few more seconds before saying, 7 miles west, several miles north. What resembles an old temple with several objects? Everyone looked at him confused, save Ozpin, who looked interested. Naruto stood up and pulled out his 3-pronged kunai, spinning it on his finger, and looked into the sky. Mild wind towards east, 56.33 degree arc and arm, 17% power. Naruto caught the handle of the kunai and threw it, following all of his calculations. He waited. Mr. Uzuma, Glinda started. SHHHHHHH. Naruto hushed, causing many to stare even more wide-eyed at the Balsi move Naruto was pulling, not once but twice in 1 hour. Suddenly and somehow, everyone heard a huge thwack off in the distance and heard a tree fall over. Well, we all know the answer to the old "does the tree make a sound" riddle now. Heh. John said, attempting to lighten the mood. That's my cue. See you guys at the temple. Hurry up too. It's lonely at the top. Naruto chuckled before turning into a blur. He literally turned into a blur, blasting off in the direction of the kunai he threw. Okay. What the hell just happened? A more than very surprised Ruby asked. Why, surprisingly answered, trust me. It's easier if you chalk it up to semblance. Well, this sucks. I probably shouldn't have done that, now I'm bored. Naruto was at the temple Ozpin spoke about. The artifacts there were black and gold chess pieces. Naruto walked forward and got the king piece. Why the hell not? He then jumped onto the top of the broken down temple and began to doze off. Naruto awoke to a loud girly scream. I swear to God if that's John. He then opened his eyes to see Ruby falling. Oh, for a second there I thought, then the scream came back into his hearing and saw John collide with Ruby. Sigh. Naruto looked down to see Yang and Blake looking up at Ruby falling. Did she really just fall from a nevermore? Blake asked in a monotone voice. Yup. Naruto answered behind the two, causing both to jump. How the hell did I not hear him? Blake thought, wondering if her senses were getting bad or if she was getting sick. Where the hell did you come from, Tubby? Yang asked openly. Seriously, I'm not even fat. Naruto said back with a tick mark. Oh, poor guy doesn't even know he's fat. Yang said teasingly. She's kind of right, your body figure speaks differently as opposed to your words. Blake chimed in. Suddenly a big bear-like creature that was all black, save the white bone mask, bursted from the clearing. Yehawwww was the only thing everyone heard as the bear-like creature fell forward. Oh, it's broken. The four saw the orange-haired girl from the cliff hop off. Did she really just ride in on an Ursa? Blake asked again in a monotone voice. Ruby shook it off, having landed, and looked at her sister. Yang. Ruby. Nora. The orange-haired girl yelled, coming between the two sisters. The orange-haired girl, now identified as Nora, got out from between the two and ran to her teammate, the guy from earlier with the black hair and pink streak. I'm sorry for that, Nora is really hyperactive. I'm Ren. Introductions were given all around before they heard yelling from above. Is that Weiss? Naruto asked. Yeah. Don't worry about her. Ruby said. She's about to fall. Blake said in her same voice. What? Nah, she'll be fine. She's falling. John saw Weiss fall and ran from a tree branch and caught her. He caught her bridal style until, well, let's just say gravity is indeed a bitch. John fell onto his stomach while Weiss landed on his back. Wow. Can this day get any? Ruby, no. Worse? Ruby asked. Naruto tried to interrupt her, but failed. He knew what happens when that phrase is uttered. A little help please. Off in the near distance everyone saw Purah running away from a large scorpion-like creature. Did she really run all the way chased by a death stalker? The earth began to quake. What the he? The giant snake shot out from the ground. The thing was, this wasn't a grim, the scales were purple, the snake didn't have a bone mask. Manda? Naruto blinked looking at the familiar snake. This was from his world. How the hell did he get here? Oh ho ho. The little one. It's been a long while since I saw you last. The snake hissed, but Naruto could understand it. Yang got her gauntlets ready, and Ruby aimed her sniper. I suggest you make them lower their weapons before they become lunch. Mana sent his thought to Naruto. Both the Nevermore and the Deathstalker ran off at this point, seeing no way to defeat both their prey and the new foe that presented itself. Everyone stop. Lower your weapons. It's okay, I got this. Naruto said, walking forward. Everyone began to listen, all except John, who was too scared to move at the moment. The glint from his sword caught Manda's eye, however, and he looked at the blonde. I warned you. Manda thought. Why, John? Manda had dived straight for John, intent on eating him. Naruto ran and pushed John out of the way, getting eaten in the process. Naruto. They all yelled, even Weiss. Everyone got their weapons prepared again before the snake looked uneasy. The snake began swaying before its mouth was forced open. There, separating Manda's jaws, was Naruto without the sweater. His pants and shoes, luckily, were still on, so all that showed were his muscles, all flexing to keep the mouth opened, and his tails. Despite the situation, everyone was frozen at finally seeing Naruto, who kept himself covered. I knew he was a faunus. But what kind of faunus has 9 tails? Blake thought. Fee. The loud construction worker whistle came from Yang. Really, Yang? Now? In this particular situation where he was almost eaten? Ruby asked her older sister. What can I say? Mama likes what she sees. Yang replied, smirking. But he's a faunus. Y said, thinking Yang mad for finding a faunus attractive. She didn't notice the glare she received from Blake. Yeah. He's also a hunk. Yang said a little too excitedly. Can we save that talk for after the giant snake is gone? Ruby yelled frantically. She had a point, it looked like Naruto was struggling. Though Naruto wasn't really struggling, just putting on a show. Time to show off. Naruto gave Manda's jaws a push and jumped high into the air, pushing Manda back a bit. He kept going up higher and higher until he couldn't be seen. Everyone looked up to see a glint. The boxing gloves. Ruby shouted, and her being the only one who knew about Naruto's weapon, had everyone staring at her and back to see Naruto coming down. Hard. Very hard. Right on Manda's head. Sustaining more damage than he wanted to admit, Manda retreated, heading for the hole he came from. Until he was stopped, that is. Oh, you want to leave? Naruto yelled, holding the tip of Manda's tail. He pulled the tail up and began twirling, swinging the giant snake in circles. If you want out so bad, here's a first-class ticket. Naruto shouted, letting go. Manda went off until he was a dot that eventually disappeared. Naruto put his hand over his eyes, looking into the direction he threw Manda. Huh. He hasn't landed. Naruto, what the flabber was that? Ruby asked, substituting a curse. That was a giant snake. Come on, Ruby, I know you're more observant than that. Naruto answered. Everyone's sweat dropped but still stared at him. What? Something in my teeth? Naruto asked. It was then he realized he didn't have his tails wrapped around him. He looked back and saw his tails in plain sight. Oh hey, my tails. Chapter 4. Team assignments. What do you mean, oh hey, your tails? You have 9 of them. We all thought you were fat. That counts as lying, doesn't it? Ruby yelled and continued yelling until she saw Naruto use 2 of his tails as earplugs. Done? Naruto asked. After a small while, Ruby nodded. Naruto took his 2 tails out of his ears. Good, because now that Manda's gone, I can sense the Nevermore and Deathstalker coming. Hold on, there's one other, you guys take care of those 2, this one is mine. Naruto said, not waiting for agreement before jumping off into the distance. Anyone notice he had sunglasses? Ruby said. But that was pretty cool. Yang said, seeing how much ground he covered in one leap. How can you think he's cool? He is a faunus. Y said angrily, getting a hard glare from Blake. Racist comments later. Deathstalker and Nevermore are inbound. John yelled. True enough, now that the giant snake was gone, the lesser monsters came out to play. Well, there's no need to lollygag. Y spoke up. She's right, we have what we came for. Ruby said, surprising Yang at how she matured in so little time. Okay, game plan. Blake said openly. There was a small wait while the Nevermore and Deathstalker were closing in. Okay, Purah, Ren, Nora and I will take the Deathstalker, you guys get the Nevermore. Nora, that hammer turn into anything? John said, surprisingly taking charge. Ruby and the rest ran off to face the Nevermore. Nora smirked at the question and was about to say a completely insane way of saying yes before Ren cut her off. Yes, it turns into a Miss Lee launcher. John nodded, Purah, go into the trees and provide sniper coverage. Nora, anytime that Deathstalker comes dangerously close, knock it back. Ren, provide covering fire and stab for the open chunks in the armor on its left. I'll go for its right. Go. John yelled, with everyone listening. The Death Stalker went for John before it hesitated as a shot from Purah hit right between its tail and its body. Ren and John followed their part when the Death Stalker was past pissed with what was going down. It swatted Ren with its claw, and its stinger would have gotten him if Miss Lee hadn't hit the stinger, damn near taking out the armor plating. "Purah. Nora," John shouted. He jumped back and cupped his hands, letting them know his plans. Ren got the same distance from the slightly dazed Death Stalker and cupped his hands as well. Nora jumped on their hands, launching her up high. Purah was next, and when Nora got to the height of her leap, she jumped again off of Purah's shield, sending her high into the air. When she got to the top of her leap, she converted the missile launcher back into a sledgehammer and swung it downwards, making her spin incredibly fast. "Wee." Those were the last words the Death Stalker heard before a sledgehammer was embedded in where its head was supposed to be, had it not exploded from said hammer. Grim goop was all over the overly hyper girl, who was still grinning like a maniac until she noticed what she did. "Oh. This one's broken too. Now Ren won't let me tend the rabbits." Ren rolled his eyes. "Nora, what did I tell you about watching that movie?" "What? I had headphones on." I remembered. "No, I said no movies after 10. The fact you were within my eyesight until we went to sleep tells me you didn't listen. No pancakes for you," Ren said, looking away. Nora looked like she had just been shot through the heart. She dropped to her knees and begged while Purah and John's sweat dropped. "Fine. But next time listen," Ren finally said. All life returned to the girl. "Yay, I'm still queen of the castle, I'm still queen of the castle," Nora chanted as she skipped around Ren. Then they heard some loud roar in the distance, followed by Naruto's voice. "Ruoer. No, fuck you. Ruoer. You leave my mother out of this." Everyone looked into the clearing to see Naruto wrestling a what the serious hell is that? The monster looked like a overgrown lion, but it overly sized fangs, a horn on its head and large wings. The team was in awe at the sheer majesticness of the creature. That is until it took a drop kick to the face by Naruto. It was then they noticed it was multiple Narutos fighting. John came between them suddenly, completely ignoring his fear for the sake of his savior earlier. "John, what the hell are you doing?" John looked confused. "I thought you might need he was pushed aside as the Narutos and the monster continued to slug it out. It was a good 30 minutes, Ruby and the rest joining them as they all watched Naruto fight the creature. The two were at a standstill before Naruto got a smirk. He charged forward and moved his head back to avoid a swipe and head-butted the creature, avoiding the horn. While everyone was stunned at what just happened, Naruto made sure his back was to everyone before he took off his glasses, showing no normal eyes, but pupils inside of a biohazard sign. The sign began spinning before turning into the same eyes as the creature before he stood straight and put the glasses back on, having his eyes back to the hazard state. "Do we have an understanding now?" Naruto said. The beast growled and Naruto laughed. He turned to the rest and the others looked in awe. "See you guys at the cliff," he said before he jumped onto the creature and literally rode off into the sunset. "I think I'm in love," Yang said, licking her lips. "I still don't understand how you can be attracted to," Ty said before she was cut off. "Oh, shut up with that. He saved us from that giant snake, he saved me from that giant snake. I'm not going to let you badmouth him when he's not here." John spoke up, surprising everyone. Just an hour ago he was trying to hit on Weiss, now he was telling her off. Blake smiled at the fact that not only had someone told off the heiress of the Schnee company, but a human was stepping up for a member of the Franus race. She liked to see that not all humans were assholes. Weiss was about to say a piece of her mind before Ruby stopped her. Not one to lollygag, remember?" she said. Weiss didn't like it, but Ruby used her own words against her. What was she to say to that? All the first years were in a huge auditorium with Osmond giving out teams and code names. John Arc, Nora Valkyrie, Purah Nikos and Lyren. You four have gotten the rook pieces. Essential to the defense of any and all kingdoms, you all are the lines that keep cities safe at night. You will be known as Team JUNIPERJNPR. Team leader John Arc. The team cheered for a surprised John before Purah gave him a pat that accidentally put him on his ass. "Sorry. Ruby Rose, Weiss Schnee, Blake Belladonna and Yang Xiaolong. The four of you have gotten the night pieces essential for armies to advance whether as scouts or attack parties. Team name RWBY with Ruby Rose as team leader," Osmond said. There were mixed reactions, Ruby being surprised, Weiss, an angry surprise, Black had a small smile while Yang was rooting and yelling, "That's my sister." Ending it with "Suck it Schnee." Gaining a glare from her. "You know as a team we share a room, right?" Blake said in her normal monotone voice. "Oh," Yang said, realizing what she said in the spur of the moment. "Naruto Uzumaki." Naruto walked up and in the background played his FIGHT, if you could call it that, with Manda and his brawl with the mystical creature. You have shown valiant efforts in taking out a SS rank monster, along with taming a creature many have only dreamed of seeing. Oh, that's Lenny. He's a saber-toothed leocorn. Osmond looked with amusement before speaking. You were the only one to get the king piece, and to tell the truth, putting you on a team would completely be unbalanced. Naruto stopped him. Don't worry, I got a team. Number 7. Number 27. Number 38. Naruto called. Down came 3 Narutos, one had slick back hair, a lab coat with an orange swirl on the back, rectangle glasses and a book under his arm. One was a girl with a slim black camouflage t-shirt with an orange swirl on the back, long hair and a high ponytail, dark goggles over her eyes, shorts to her knee on one side and mid-thigh on the other, and she was covered in blades. She had a belt with throwing knives attached all around it, save a pouch that most likely had more knives. She had 2 machete sheaths strapped to her legs, 2 short swords on her back in an X formation, with a large claymore going down the middle. The last one had a black bandana covering his head, a face mask identical to his old sensei's, Kakashi, which ran to a black turtleneck. Over it was light armor to provide maneuverability. He had black cargo pants with black military boots and black gloves. This clone had a very large sniper with tribal designs all over it on his back, the stock nearly touching the floor and the barrel going well over his head. Ruby could be heard geeking out. Eek. That's the Vanquisher. The best sniper in existence. Only 3 were ever made, and no one can even try to remake it. She yelled, totally fangirling out. This Naruto stared at Ruby before giving a head nod and returning his attention to the boss, the real Naruto. The smart one is number 7, had him stay and learn everything. Howdy. 27 is the girl and as you can see, loves blades. Yo. 38 is the last one. He loves his sniper. Also got a team name. Osmond slightly smiled at this. And what would it be? Call me Toma. The one-man army. Chapter 5. Answers. So Toma, huh? How does that even relate to your name? It makes no sense, if it wasn't for your muscles, I'd so be making fun of you. Yang was saying to Naruto who was sitting on the side of the school gym meditating. Literally. He was in a lotus stance on the wall sitting horizontally. Yang had questioned it the first 30 minutes, but he told her to chalk it up to semblance, so she left the subject alone. By the way, where's your team? Ruby asked the sideways Naruto, who sighed. They're in the same place I told you 3 minutes ago. And the 2 minutes before that. Yang added. Plus the other 2 minutes before that. Blake added. BB but the Vanquisher. Can I see it please assy? Ruby begged. Naruto shifted out of his stance and walked further and onto the ceiling where he sat again. It's not a Vanquisher. Naruto said in a monotone voice. What? That can't be true. No one, not even Schnee Enterprises have been able to fabricate such a rifle. Y spoke up, not believing the faunus. Meh. Don't believe me, don't have to. I number 38, made that rifle. He became the disciple of a very good friend of mine. That's not his main weapon though. What? You described a high-power sniper rifle built by a sniper, but isn't his main weapon. What is it then? Ruby asked, incredibly curious. Naruto dropped from the roof and leaned in before he whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. It's a secret. Everyone face vaulted at the answer as Naruto walked to a weight set, arms crossed, and began lifting weights with his tails. He sniffed the air. I suggest you get rid of that anger, Weiss. Trust me, hate is a nasty thing. Naruto looked back, sunglasses still on, but everyone could tell he was staring at Weiss. Hate caused a good friend of mine to betray not just me, but my home. You can get over it or avoid it. He looked back forward. How could you tell? Weiss asked surprised. My senses are bipolar. It can be bad or it can be good. That doesn't answer my question. Impatient aren't we? When my senses are good, it's beyond great. I could smell the small traces of adrenaline and noradrenaline in your brain, meaning you're angry. Seeing as so far nothing's happened, I take it you're a bigot against the faunus race and dislike that I could do what your family's company couldn't. Naruto stated, demonstrating he was smarter than they all thought. SHHHH, quiet muscles, the more you speak smarts, the less attracted I get. Yang said to Naruto, putting a finger over his mouth. Naruto moved back, sorry, I can't. I just can't. The other 3 members of Team rwby were confused, but Yang looked like she was shot through the heart. The hell do you mean you can't? Do you see this bod? Men would kill for a chance to hug me. Yang shouted, offended. She was only teasing Naruto, but his denial, even if she herself was joking, got her a tad bit angry. Well, in truth. You kinda remind me of a girl me and I'm not that into fucking myself. Naruto looked back at her. Yang opened her mouth to reply, but nothing came out. She slowly closed her mouth and looked deep in thought. Damn it muscles, you're right. Naruto looked back, continuing his weight lifting before Yang playfully slapped his butt. She then went from playful to staring at her hand with a surprised but serious look. She wiggles her fingers before she pulled a stick from out of nowhere. On the end of the stick was a paper with a 10 on it. Nice firmness. Toned, yet great grapeability. The perfect ratio of aesthetic muscle and toned pink muscles. Whatever you do to work that butt of yours out, continue. She said, giving a thumbs up with the same serious face as before. Thanks, I think I'm done for today, Naruto said, placing the weights back neatly and walking out. Wait. Blake yelled, surprising everyone that the mellow girl actually raised her voice. Exactly what type of faunus has 9 tails? Naruto thought about what his excuse would be. The search for a reason in his mind didn't work as good as it should have. Well, you see, what had happened was he started before he teleported out of the situation. The girls were stunned since they weren't that used to it. They scattered trying to look for Naruto throughout the school. As they left, a ceiling tile was moved and Naruto dropped. Well, that could have gone better. He created a clone. 67, walk around, stretch out. You see one of the 4, bolt like your life depended on it. Hi. Number 67 yelled. He was the standard clone with a "it's all for the greater good" attitude. While his clone was running around, he needed to talk to Ozpin. He needed answers. Ozpin knew his father's last name. He also kept how he knew a secret, which he didn't take too kindly to. Naruto kicked down the door. Glinda walked quickly, but Naruto wasn't in the mood for that. I've been thinking about it all night and kept my emotions in for the sake of my friends. Naruto said. Glinda felt a knife poke her back and another on her neck. They're not here. But you won't be either if I don't get answers. Naruto took off his glasses, showing his biohazard eyes, which swirled into a crown, surprising Glinda and Ozpin. Now. Ozpin, who just by staring into his eyes, felt he needed to listen to him. Not out of fear or respect, he couldn't name why, but he just needed to. He held himself back, however, and wrote numbers on a piece of paper. He handed it to Naruto, whose eyes swirled into various math signs. Where do these lead? Naruto asked, having not traveled this world enough to memorize coordinates. This leads to something you need to see. It will answer a few questions, but spring many more. If I were to tell you, you wouldn't believe me. Ozpin said, sipping his coffee as Glinda was just as confused by the situation. Try me. Naruto said, chuckling. Ozpin sighed. If you must know, it is a place where you can find what I assume to be your new weapon. It is a bridge I believe you're associated with. Naruto dropped his glasses. His jaw fell loosely. Is he? No. No, that's in my world. There's no way. There's no fucking way. The Great Naruto Bridge. Chapter 6. Revelations. Naruto left Ozpin's room. His eyes swirled into several insignias and symbols, finally resting on a set of normal blue eyes. He didn't notice, but the surprise from what was said dispelled his clone. He was left wandering, both physically and mentally. He continued throughout the school as he wallowed in his thoughts. The bridge, that means this is my world. What the hell happened? Here boy, PSSSST. PSSSST, here boy. Come on. It was then Naruto noticed he was in a hallway, empty save other 4 people. The 3 looked shady, but who looked like their leader was the one making fun of Naruto. The leader wore gray armor with yellow trim and small bird design on the chest plate. He was Caucasian with orange hair. Hahaha. He looked up. Well, now that we've got your attention, you frontus piece of crap, empty your po. The guy was interrupted by a finger in front of his face. No one even saw Naruto move. How the foo Naruto flicked him. He was being gracious though, he only used enough force to destroy his armor and probably cripple him and the others. They stood there dumbfounded. You're going to regret that. One of the guys spoke before he was knocked out by Weiss. Naruto looked at her puzzled. I could have done that. Humph, consider it even for you saving my designer clothes at the fountain. Weiss said, turning to see the other 2 idiots on the floor, Naruto walking away. Hey. Weiss yelled, catching up. Naruto continued walking, ignoring her. I said hey. Still ignored. She was fed up and shot a glyph in front of him. The glyph stopped him for a second, but Naruto was getting fed up as well. He punched the glyph, breaking it and surprising Weiss. What do you want from me? He yelled at Weiss. Answers. She yelled back. By now there was a crowd, people starting to fill the hallways at the drama unfolding. Naruto looked around at the crowd, all the curious faces, all the whispers, he didn't like it. He pushed his way through the crowd, determined to get away. Weiss actually put her bigot side away and waited before giving chase. Naruto was breathing deeply on the roof. He knew he wasn't claustrophobic, but the crowd there, all the stares and whispers coupled with the new knowledge found today, put him off the deep end. He fell on his ass. Meditate. I gotta meditate, he thought to himself. Meditating doesn't solve all problems, you know. Naruto turned quickly to see Weiss close the door to the roof. She stood still as a female. Naruto grabbed her, number 27 if she remembered correctly. There were currently 7 knives aimed at her, 3 in between 27's fingers on her right hand, 1 in the other, 1 in between her knee. And the other two in her elbows, all perfectly pointed at Weiss. You hate me, then you help me. Why? Naruto said confused. Despite the knives, Weiss actually moved closer. Impatient aren't we? Naruto winced at how Weiss threw his words back at him. You can meditate as much as you want, but all that does is calm your demons down. You have to talk to someone to really release it. Naruto chuckled. If I released my demons there wouldn't be anything in this world left. He said, looking into the sky. 27, it's okay. TCH, fine. She said as she jumped off the building to another before running off. I'll bite. Let's start over and talk. Who are you? I'm Weiss Schnee, heiress to the Schnee Company. The largest dust company in Virginia, Weiss said when Naruto cut her off. Okay, let's restart. He said, seeing she was mildly angry at being interrupted. Who is Weiss? Naruto said. I was telling you that. Weiss responded. No, not Weiss, the Schnee heiress. I want to know Weiss, the huntress in training. Naruto said looking at her with a kind smile. Weiss surprisingly blushed at this. Every man who wanted her fortune. She felt stupid seeing a guy from a race she's discriminated against being the first one to want to know her. She was at a loss for words. It's okay. I can tell you're new to this. Whenever you're ready to tell me who Weiss is, I'll listen. Thank you. You made me think about what I should have been doing. How so? Weiss asked. Well, you got over your hate and frustration for closure. I need to do the same. Naruto stood straight up, he looked at Weiss with a smile. Weiss quickly looked away, hiding the blush her pale skin was giving off. The blush was intensified when she felt a kiss on the cheek. What the hell do you think you're doing? Weiss yelled, a bit embarrassed. Naruto chuckled. Thanks princess. He said as he whistled loud. A roar could be heard off into the distance and Lenny the saber-toothed Leocorn came into view. Naruto jumped off the building and onto Lenny's back. Hell Ozpin, I'm gonna be gone for a small while. See you when I get back princess. Naruto yelled. Weiss blushed at the nickname. She's never been called royalty unless there was the word ice in front of it. As he went off, Weiss had a small grin on her face as she walked off. Maybe Fronis aren't that bad she thought, returning to her room. Naruto arrived at the coordinates written on the paper. Sure enough, it was there. There seemed to be no civilization for miles. The mist village mist was gone. He was prepared for this, with how no one seemed to know about chakra, he expected this to be a big jump in time. He walked through the buildings, some collapsed from a simple touch, others stood their ground, but from the creaks and such, you could tell they weren't winning. He thought about what Ozpin said. New main weapon. What could have he then remembered? The blade that went through 3 generations of swordsmen with huge kill counts. He went for the infamous blade wielded by his enemy-turned-ally. The executioner blade. Naruto appeared by the graveside and sure enough, there it was. The blade of Zabuza, one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. He got the sword and felt the power emanating from the weapon. He put it over his shoulder, 27 had the claymore. This was his. However, this trip opened Naruto's eyes greatly. If Mist was here, Naruto began his journey back home. His first home. Back to Konohagakure. Chapter 7. Why it's called Remnant. Naruto emerged from the forest to an incredibly familiar road. He took that path until he fell to his knees in front of the gate. Here it was, gate closed and everything. He became incredibly excited. I'm home. I'm finally home. He opened the doors and stood stiff. Konoha, for the most part, was in ruins. This can't be fucking happening. We won the war. We had peace. Naruto dropped down, nearly slamming his palm into the ground and sensed for anyone who survived. He got a small faint chakra signature. There was another shinobi like him. Well, not like him, but alive. He ran towards it, not caring what was in his way, going through the walls of buildings and appeared in front of his childhood dream. The Hokage Tower. Naruto burst through to where he felt the chakra. He was in the office. Hello. I'm not going to hurt anyone. Please, anyone come out. There was no response. He walked to the desk and felt the signature coming from a scroll in the somehow still standing desk. The area within a mile of the Hokage Tower was all in pristine condition, though that didn't protect it from age. He grabbed the scroll and put it on the floor and activated the seal. There was a poof and before him stood a Asuma Sarutobi look-alike. Asuma? Naruto asked, surprised. The look-alike himself was stunned until he broke into a wide smile. Haha, come on now. I don't look exactly like him. Besides, to be called old by someone older than me sucks, boss. Naruto's jaw dropped to the floor. Hard. Konohamaru. And the flesh. Konohamaru said with a cheeky grin. Well, kind of. Konohamaru nearly popped out of existence when Naruto charged forward and hugged him. The two shared a brief silence before Naruto sniffled and broke away. What the hell happened? Naruto asked, sitting in a chair that was stable enough to handle his weight. Do you want me to lie to you or do you want the truth? Konohamaru asked. Naruto actually took time to think about it, leaning forward and running his right hand through his hair. Give me the truth. He finally decided. Or happened. Konohamaru said seriously. That sentence hit Naruto hard. What the hell do you mean? Sasuke and I beat Kagaya. Even Black Zetsu was sealed. Naruto questioned, trying to understand what happened. But the saviors of the war were no longer there. There was no one to rein everyone and reignite compassion. Hearing the saviors were from the Leaf Village damaged Sim's pride. It didn't help that some of our own were acting ignorantly and acting like they were better. Konohamaru explained. Naruto balled his fist and looked away. After that, there were those who disliked the treaty and broke off from their village. They fell under an old experiment of Orochimaru's. Experiment? Konohamaru nodded, artificial Uchihas, capable of reaching Mangekyo Sharingans. Under their guidance, the rogues attempted to reignite the war by continuing the Akatsuki's work with their own twist. They tried to redo the infinite Tsukiyomi. Konohamaru shook his head, they tried to bring back the 10 tails. This made Naruto jump from his seat. Why the hell would they do that? It could destroy a village with one blast. So could you with your Rasen Shuriken. Konohamaru added. I'm serious. Just saying. Why they did it? No one knows, maybe they thought they could control it, maybe they wanted to destroy the world. They succeeded in taking 7 of the beast, though Kurabi he didn't make it. Konohamaru said. He continued, he was outnumbered, all had Mangekyo unlocked. He fought to his dying breath and took out more than half of the artificials. When he died, Gyuki reformed years later as the sole survivor of the tailed beast, besides Kurama of course. The incomplete 10 tails dispersed, finding hosts and becoming what is now called Grim. Kurama passed as well. He saw me as an heir and dispersed his power to me. Naruto said, depressed. He balled his fist hard enough to draw blood, if I was stronger, none of this would have happened. He gritted his teeth. Boss, cut that out. We lived. We endured the attacks and look. There are people to this day. Konohamaru yelled. Unless there's something you aren't telling me. Naruto sighed, releasing his fists. No, there are people. What's the deal with Aura? Naruto asked, changing the subject. Well, after hearing about the Kagaya fight, we found that chakra wouldn't do, Kami forbid it happened again. From there, we slowly adapted and changed chakra, separating the two into physical and spiritual energy. I see, aura being physical, the body that we all have and the semblance being spiritual, because every soul is different. Naruto said, nodding. Konohamaru stood there before he put his hand on Naruto's forehead. You okay, boss? You've never sounded that smart before, you hit your head. Screw you. I'm still older than you. Naruto yelled as Konohamaru laughed. Naruto's face turned serious yet again, you said the saviors weren't here. What happened to Sasuke? You don't know? Konohamaru asked, a bit shocked. What do you mean? Well, we don't know either. We thought he disappeared with you. I was serious when I asked if you didn't know. Naruto sighed, scratching his head. Konohamaru looked at him with a sad smile. Boss, the chakra in the seal is running out. I know. Naruto said, returning the same sad smile. It really was good to see you one last time. The two fist bumped each other with a determined smile. Tell everyone I'm okay and I'll never forget them. I will. Oh, I also got a disciple of my own, his name is. That was all Konohamaru could get out before his sealed clone popped. Naruto chuckled at the situation while he walked over to the window. He looked out and froze. That cheeky little. On the mountainside was the Hokage monument. After the first was Kakashi, a blank spot, and finally Konohamaru's face. The space in between Kakashi and Konohamaru's face had words carved in that red, reserved for Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto wiped a couple of tears from his eyes, smiling brightly as he did. He walked to a still intact bookshelf filled with works of literature and even questionable works. He found a book that stuck out to him the most, his godfather's first work, The Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Shinobi. He pulled the book out and the shelf instantly moved inwards before rotating, revealing ancient samurai armor and a note. Boss, if you ever come back, this is for you. It was a gift from Mifune and now a gift from me. Naruto smirked as he opened the case and put on the armor. He walked out of the Hokage building, sad yet satisfied with his journey. He brought up his hand to swat a fly, but as he did it, green energy shot out of his gauntlets, destroying the fly and a nearby building. He was surprised, but then broke out in a huge smile. That cheeky little. Chapter 8. Invasion. Things are so worrying. Ruby said after class. You're seriously such a kid, it's only second period, Ruby. Y said, preparing for the next class. It had been 7 days since Naruto left, only telling Weiss, which chained reactions from the rest of the team and over half the female populace in the school. Yeah, but I still want to see Naruto's modified Vanquisher. Gah, when the heck is he coming back anyways? Ruby said, frustrated. Yeah, Weiss, when is he coming back? Yang asked. How should I know? It's not like I know his life, Y said as they still continued. She had plenty of time to think, breaking mildly from her bigotry. Blake was mildly happy to see that though Y still disliked Francis, she didn't openly insult the Francis race anymore. But, you were the only one he told before he ran off. Yang said. I mean, look at me. Better yet, look at these. Yang said jokingly, pointing at her breast. Let it be known that while Yang was certainly endowed, Weiss was not as lucky. Weiss grew red at basically being called flat-chested. It was a very sore spot for her, one she constantly hated as her older sister and mother definitely did not lack as she did. Honestly, I'm a bit offended. I thought Muscles and I knew each other better than that, Yang huffed, pouting, though it kind of showed she didn't truly care. Yang didn't truly care unless it was about her family or her hair. She wasn't a parade around naked type, she just thought she had better things to do, like beat people up, than truly worry about little things. Well, for one, you don't call him by his name. Blake said blankly. She, herself, wanted more information out of him. The technique he used was out of a fairy tale. Literally for her, growing up old, thought to be senile, Toad Francis spoke of a long ago time and ninjas. The hero, the main protagonist, was a flaming fox Francis-like being. He showed up in a time of war and could disappear into light and transport to different places. She passed it off as fairy tale, but with the evidence in front of her, how could she? She needed answers, she was going to get them, one way or another. But I also talked to him before the sweater came off. Yang said, winking and pointing her tongue. Gosh, I wish something would happen. Ruby pouted. All students, report to cafeteria and remain until further notice. All professors, code Sigma. The announcement box yelled through the halls. Just had to say something, didn't you, Ruby? Y said, face palming. The four got to the cafeteria and sat down expecting it to be a drill. What the hell is code Sigma? YRW Yang started but was interrupted when there was a massive earthquake. 3 professors busted through the doors in full armor and locked everything. Before the armored plates could close on the windows, there was another massive quake and everyone got the sight of a giant snake coming out. Giant snake. Ruby yelled. It swiped the whole side of the wall with its tail, knocking students and the 3 professors over. There were more hunters running to the snake, but they all halted when 8 more snakes that were just a bit smaller than the original popped out of the ground. He brought friends. Everyone was terrified, even the experienced hunters were a bit shaky at the seemingly impossible odds. They fought on though, prompting many of the students to do the same, releasing their weapons. Time seemed to stop, though, when there was a loud crack off into the distance and one of the snake's heads exploded. Then everyone saw number 27 jump head first into the fray, pulling out her claymore. She ran at one with blinding speed and cut the snake everywhere, not being able to slice them completely in half because of the size of her sword. Number 7 walked slowly to one of the snakes. Pair for a game of chess? He asked. The snake replied by bringing its head back and then lunging at him. Pity. He said as he grew bigger, ripping the lab coat, grew more muscles and to avoid lawsuit, turned a color other than green. He caught the snake by the top and bottom lip and flipped him, slamming the snake before grabbing debris from the wall and crushed the downed snake. Everyone fell out of their daze at the glimmer of hope that just appeared until it was again crushed by 3 more snakes emerging and an even bigger purple snake. Manda returned with a vengeance. Manda was much more experienced than the other snakes, dodging 27 slashes and smacking her away with his tail. He rushed at number 7 before stopping right as he attacked and spit acid, burning and blinding him. He dodged a shot from 38 and buried 7 before he could cause any more problems. He spoke, fools. Though the original can defeat me, he slammed 27 again, making her poof and smoke was seen emerging through the debris where 7 was buried. You are all still clones. Fractions of the original. His snakes raised in triumph for their leader. A snake rushed and was about to eat a professor before he was stopped in his tracks. I may not be from your time. A cane smacked him upwards, breaking the snake's jaw. But, I am quite adept in your ways. Another snake went and ate him, or at least he thought he did before he spit out a log. A chakra-empowered fist hit the snake in the gut, pushing the snake off into the mid-distance. The dust cleared and the one and only Osmond stood there, sipping his coffee. So? Who's first? Chapter 9. Disciple of a Forgotten Time. Well, what are you doing here? Come on, get up. A young man said to a white-haired child, putting a long blue scarf around him. Are you gonna let life push you down, or are you going to tell life where it can shove it? The guy said. A orange-haired lady and another man, both the other guy's age, ran up. Konoha, hurry up. I want to get back to Leaf as quickly as we can. You guys go ahead, Mogi, I'm gonna stay and help the settlement out. Konoha said. What? Konoha, you know we have to go back as a cell. Konoha started picking his ear as he gave her a blank face. I'm sorry, I can't speak Nag. Oh no, the girl started until she saw the little boy who couldn't be more than 6 with Konoha scarf around him. Her face became shocked and she closed her eyes and took a deep breath. "Fine, we'll see you back at Leaf," Mogi said, walking off. "Mogi?" She looked back and saw Konohamaru giving her a trademark grin. "Thanks." She started blushing hard. "Why yeah, whatever. Just make sure to come home," she yelled as she stormed off. "What's her problem?" Konohamaru said, he and the child giving confused faces. "So kid, what's your name?" he asked. "Oh Ospen," the kid squeaked out. Osping huh? Got a last name?" The kid shook his head. "Well come on kid." Ospen looked at Konohamaru puzzled. "Hey. Who's gonna teach you to survive? Come on, chop chop," Konohamaru said, clapping at the chop chop part. Ospen sipped his coffee as he dodged the snake strikes. Everyone was mesmerized by the display and even more so when they saw Ospen stick his cane into the ground, balance his coffee mug on it and made his hands do weird signs before he shot breaths of fire. Already he had taken 3 snakes down alone. Ospen age 11. "Hey. Are you even trying?" Konohamaru yelled. It had been 5 years, with Konohamaru occasionally visiting after getting the kid an apartment, which he caught heated yells from Mogi about. Who the hell buys an 8-year-old his own apartment? Konohamaru was training Ospen periodically so he could protect himself since he was living alone. He was teaching him how to enhance his muscles with chakra, which Ospen could barely do right. "So I guess we'll have to teach you taijutsu for now," Konohamaru said disappointed. "And no. I can do this. Let me continue," Ospen said shakily. Konohamaru turned to him and was about to refuse until he saw his eyes. Ospen seemed unwavering with a will of steel. He chuckled. "Fine." He ruffled Ospen's hair and grabbed 20 leaves, throwing them in the air. Ospen squinted his eyes. He jumped back, grabbing a stick. He started swinging wildly, making Konohamaru facepalm. "You'll never get it like that," but when he opened his eyes, he noticed the swings weren't wild at all. It created a triangle-like cyclone and when all the leaves were aligned, "No way," Konohamaru said. Ospen transferred chakra into the stick and threw it straight, piercing and catching all the leaves. It seems your chakra control goes good with weapons. I got a friend for that." Ospen broke through the rest of the snakes taking advantage of their surprise. All the students and professors continued fighting. Manda's tongue slithered out of his mouth and vibrated making a sound. More snakes began coming. "You are well in the ways of old, but this is a matter of vengeance, not honor. I will use my numbers to take care of you lot," Manda hissed. It was all-out warfare. Students were being thrown, snakes were being toppled. Ospen took his last sip of coffee before grabbing his can. The cane suddenly opened up, separating to form a hilt. "You face me with a blade-less word. A mussing, human." "Incorrect. Everyone, retreat." Everyone looked surprised. "What? We can do this?" Yang shouted. "It wasn't a request." Ospen replied, causing Glinda to go wide-eyed. "Sir. You haven't used that in years. Who knows what it may do to you. Now Glinda." Everyone was wide-eyed at Ospen's first outburst, even for Professor Port who had been there several years. They all took the note and retreated. The snakes were surprised to say the most, but quickly fell out of it after, about to resume their attacks. Before the first 7 that rushed were sliced in half. "So you can finally use it huh? Awesome, once you work up your reserves, you can make it even bigger," Konohamaru said. "You know, I kinda thought you were stupid for giving me a cane as a weapon, but now. I gotta admit this is pretty awesome," Ospen said, now 16. "But you're saying if I had bigger reserves, I could make a giant blade?" "Exactly," Konohamaru said. "Awesome sword. Where have you been all my life?" "Ahaha, kid, that is not what swords are used for," he said as Ospen kissed his cane. "You're right, but this isn't a sword," he said, twirling the cane before throwing it up and catching it. "This ain't a sword. Not yet at least. But now it is." Ospen though. In his hand was a hilt with a chakra blade a little more than half the size of Beacon's tallest tower. Manda saw this and was frozen with fear, as were all the other snakes. Oh the irony. "Naruto threw you off as a way of showing mercy. I will not do the same," he said before he vanished and reappeared at the other side of Manda. As the chakra disappeared, the cane reverted to its original form. Ospen stood tall as the snake's upper body fell from their bodies. Even the head of Snake King Manda. Everyone broke out into roaring cheers, even the injured were ignoring their hurt organs to cheer. Ospen began walking back. He tried to take a sip of coffee, but his mug was empty. "Oh dear," he said as he collapsed forward. Chapter 10. Wake Up Call. Naruto returned on Lenny to Ospen in a small coma. He had heard what happened and at first didn't believe it seeing as everything was completely fixed within a day, but then he remembered what Glinda could do. When he fought Torchwick and there were explosions that caused craters, she cleaned it up in less than a minute with a wave of her magic wand. At least he thought it was magic, for all he knew she could be slicing lambs in the name of the Dark Lord. He kept that thought to himself. For a full 2 days he left yet again, the first to train more in the armor, and second for a secret project as he said. He had found every secret to the armor, he hoped. From what he could tell, not only did it help chakra control 1,000,000 times over, it could give it a physical form. The energy he shot accidentally was an example of this. He also found other things, like making his sword bigger, or even taking off the hilt and making another weapon. When Lenny rested from flights, Naruto trained and mastered his mother's weapons from his mindscape. Chains. Everyone was beyond both surprised and scared seeing the armor. It didn't help Naruto did Zabuza's trademark jutsu and created mist, then shooting chakra chains to the ground outside of the mist, and finally leaping out of the fog and in front of everyone, energy still steaming from his arms. What was a flashy entrance to him nearly got him killed, as soon as they were sure they weren't dead, they all released their weapons and attacked, professors included. It wasn't until he heard about Manda striking for revenge that he understood why everyone was on their toes. No one died, but they were attacked by creatures Grim had nightmares about. He had some curiosities with his home, but put it away, paying attention to school and making a life for himself. He was in his Grim studying class with Team rwby and JNPR, and just about every other first year there. He sat next to Weiss just to annoy her. He had heard there was a rumor going around that he and the Schneeris were supposedly dating, due to her being the last one to talk to him. He knew it wasn't true, but he wouldn't correct them. Seeing her face when people questioned her about it was hilarious. Everything was going as it should and Naruto went to the bathroom. In truth, he really just went and stuffed John's locker with springs and pillows, except for the spring that would assuredly hit John's crotch when he opened it, he put a boxing glove on that one. Things were shaping up to be a good day until he entered the room to Weiss blowing up on Ruby. Weiss then stormed off, Ruby following her to try to see what was wrong. The rest of Team rwby stood, they were stopped by Professor Porto. No, they don't need anyone else there at the moment. But there are Team. Yang exclaimed. And if you were to go, there would be even more tension. Sides will be taken, someone will feel betrayed. He looked at Naruto and saw the sympathy and understanding in his eyes, something a hunter who's been in it as long as he has picks up. Naruto. Please. Naruto nodded. Yes, sir. Thank you. He said as he jogged out. Naruto got to the hallway the two were in and froze when he heard Weiss. Ozpin made a mistake. Undoubtedly, that hit the red highlighted girl in the core. Even worse, there was no apology after seeing how hard it hit her, Weiss simply walked off. I'll talk to Ruby. You handle Weiss. He heard a voice from behind him. He turned around to Ozpin on a crutch, yet still sipping coffee. He didn't question it, he walked after Weiss, putting a hand on Ruby's shoulder as he passed. He continued on until he found Weiss in one of the hallways. Weiss was having a huge self-debate with herself. Half of her brain yelled what she did was right, while the other half also said she was right, but that it could have been put in a nicer way. She kept arguing with herself until she completely froze. The air around her was incredibly heavy. Gee Grim. This power. It's evil. She thought, not even be able to yell. She used the strength she had to turn her head to see the source. There stood the usually pranking, grinning or laughing blonde with no sunglasses, but a long white trench coat. He stood there, with black eyes with yellow irises. Slowly, though, she saw his eyes change, turning into normal blue eyes with normal pupils. He stood there, silently lowering the demonic aura that was around them. Weiss gasped for air and was about to yell at Naruto until she felt hands grasp her shoulders, lifting her up. Follow me. He said walking away. Weiss stood there, shocked at first, but when her senses came back, she opened her mouth to argue until stopped again at Naruto's next word. Now. He commanded. She instantly followed him as they walked for some time until leaving Beacon. They took the way to Emerald Forest, but turned down another way at a path. Where are we going? Weiss asked, breaking the silence and still mildly scared. The project I worked on yesterday. Naruto said in a monotone voice. She knew better than to pry for answers, last time she did that with Naruto she was knocked out. They kept going until a large toad Grim, the same size as them, landed with its mouth open to attack. Weiss got her weapon out and steadied, ready to destroy it until she noticed it wasn't alone. They were completely surrounded. Put your weapon down. Naruto said. But they're Grim. She exclaimed. And are you going to attack it when you were the one who nearly killed its baby? He said. Weiss looked down and noticed a small toad Grim shivering, undoubtedly scared of her. She actually felt a little bad. Not all Grim are mindless. He said to her, crouching down and gently picking the small toad Grim up, bringing it to the one in front of them. That toad closed its mouth as Naruto put the baby Grim down next to her and bowed. The toad croaked in response and moved along with its young one, prompting the rest to do the same. Weiss had no time to be amazed as Naruto had already continued in a light jog, making Weiss pick up her pace to keep up. When he finally stopped, they had gotten to a clearing with a large black stone in the middle. On the stone were many names chiseled onto it. Naruto seemed to be having a moment, staring at it solemnly, all joy left from his eyes. He deeply sighed before closing his eyes as he spoke. "Do you realize what you did today?" he asked. Why saw where it was going quickly. I told her the truth. She isn't ready. She isn't ready. Or you aren't. He said, opening his eyes and looking into hers. What's that supposed to mean? You've never given her a chance, yet you were ready to openly go against an experienced hunter's decision on making her team leader. He said, tail swirling crazily, showing he was upset. But nothing. In the time I've known you all, I quickly saw why he made Ruby team leader. Blake outcasts herself, not letting people into her bubble. Yang is too hot-headed, quick to jump into situations without thinking it out, and you, for lack of a better word, are a know-it-all. He said. What? Weiss exclaimed, angry at what he said. Is it not true? Just like I said, you never even tried to know her, you just saw that things didn't go your way and said that an experienced hunter was wrong in his choice. But my grades are the best. I know where to hit Grim, how to utilize dusts. I was valedictorian at my old school. How was I not chosen? Weiss exclaimed yet again. It's not about knowledge. It's what you do with it that matters. You got great grades to be accepted into a great school and live a great life. Exactly. Ruby got normal grades, but from the beginning it was never about living a great life. She wanted to make lives great by being a hunter. Is that not what I'm doing? Weiss screamed, overly angry at Naruto for what he was saying. Are you doing it because it's the right thing for you or because it's the right thing to do? He said. This hit Weiss like a rock. From the beginning, she didn't want to join to help people, she wanted to change the thoughts people have about the Schnee family. Helping people was just a plus. Naruto was right, Ruby was naive, but level-headed enough to think without charging in and kind-hearted enough to always try to help, the true qualities of hunters and huntresses. Please don't follow the path you're going on. You're trying to get power in the wrong ways. A friend of mine took that path, Naruto said, solemnly. What happened? Weiss said shakily. Naruto took off his trench coat and vest that was under. She saw a large scar on his back and as he turned around, she saw the scar directly above his heart. This he said, letting her see. Weiss's eyes widened and she weakly looked away. Look. Naruto commanded. She returned her gaze to his chest, seeing the horrific scar. This is what that path drove him to do. It was a full 5 years before he got off that path and even then it was almost too late. He's still my best friend despite this, but please. Don't go down that path. He said, putting his vest and cloak back on. He reverted his gaze back to the stone. What is this stone? Weiss asked. It's a memorial, Naruto answered, a bit troubled. Who were they? Weiss asked again. It's time we head back. Can't let the princess miss any more classes. Naruto said with a huge grin. He picked her up bridal style, surprising her and making her blush and completely forget about her question. Then, in the span of 4 seconds, she felt like she was going to die, her whole body pushed against his, wind was pushing her as if she were in a tornado, and she became deaf. Literally, she couldn't hear a single thing, muffled nor normal. When it all stopped, they were outside the door of Team rwby. Is that how it feels? Weiss asked as Naruto put her down, knees shaking and leaning on him for support. Yeah, sorry, I forgot it was your first time. I probably should have gone slower. Naruto said. I felt like I was going to die with how fast you were going. And next time give me a warning before you pick me up like that. Weiss half yelled. Ahem. Naruto and Weiss turned to Team rwby and JNPR, standing there wide-eyed and open mouths, except Yang, Ren and Per. All were blushing, though, except Ren, who kinda just looked away. Naruto and Weiss played back their conversation in their heads and noticed everything seemed to lead to them doing things. Missing the rest of the school day, Weiss standing there shaky-legged and their conversation didn't help much at all. Weiss ran into their room, falling in the process, which made Naruto facepalm as he went in, picked her up and helped her into the bed, which she proceeded to use the covers to hide. When everything was done, Weiss apologized to Ruby and even Naruto for that crap she gave him in the beginning. At the end there was only one question which was asked by Yang. So how was it? Chapter 11. Yang's mistake. It was a Saturday morning with seemingly nothing to do as everyone was relaxing. Weiss had gone to the library to study, Blake went there also for a quiet place to read and Ruby. Well, she was angry in finding out that number 38 the sniper, I really need to give them names, had been at Beacon the whole time Naruto was gone. So she spent her time looking for him to see the modified holy grail of sniper rifles. This left our two favorite blondes in Team rwby's room hanging out. Come on muscles. You can tell me. How was it? Was it your first time? Yang was questioning Naruto. I told you we didn't do anything. And come on Yang, the muscle's nickname is starting to be more annoying than Tubby. Naruto replied. So you're still a virgin? Yang asked. Still implies I was when I met you. Naruto said, grinning. Yang visibly blushed a bit before getting herself in check, not a second after. Touché muscles. But I'm going to call you on that bluff. Yang replied with a grin of her own. Naruto disappeared from in front of her and she felt arms wrap around her neck in a flirty manner. Calling a bluff implies that I'm bluffing. Naruto said in a low voice as his tails rubbed her arms. But, Yang went along with it, turning around and putting her hand on his cheek. She brought her face closer to his, inch by inch, the two being able to feel the other breathe. Both closed their eyes as their lips almost touched. Naruto was waiting for the impact when he heard Yang's voice say, point. Naruto opened his eyes and saw a board on the wall of Team rwby with his name and Yang's. Under his name was a 0 and under Yang's was a 1. Ahaha, you totally got pranked. Yang exclaimed. Oh, the mistake she just made. Prank you say? Naruto said, ears perking up at the mere mention of the word. Yup, decided we'd make this a competition. Yang said. Oh god. She just made a decision that will ultimately doom Beacon. Naruto's inner prankster could only look away from so many pranking opportunities, but if one were to challenge him. You're toying with dangerous forces Yang. Let's do this shit. Naruto said. Yang, think rationally here. You already got him started, don't do anything fine muscles, let's make a wager too. You fool. Naruto took off his sunglasses, revealing slits instead of pupils. Go on. What the hell is with your eyes? What are you talking about? Your eyes? They're slits. I seriously don't know what yo holy shit. Naruto yelled, pointing behind Yang. Yang quickly spun, prepared for what was to come, which was nothing. Point. Come on at least make it a challenge. Naruto said laughing. When Yang turned around she saw Naruto's eyes as normal pupils. What the hell? I could have sworn wait. That doesn't count. Yang shouted. And why doesn't it? Naruto asked, grinning since he knew she didn't have a legitimate reason. Well shut up. She yelled, throwing a pillow at him. Naruto caught it and just from that simple little action, he got ideas. So about these terms. Naruto said. Oh, right. If I win, you're my personal slave for a week. She said grinning. You'll have to do anything I say. And when I say anything, I mean if I told you to say kiss. I refuse. Naruto said. What? Why? Yang, you have the mind of a overactive teenage girl okay you are one, but I can see where this is going. I'm not going to do some gay stuff to fulfill your fantasies. But do you know how many views this book would get? Yang attempted to argue. Yang. They're not ready for fourth wall breaking. And I'm not doing that. Naruto argued back. Fine, but you will be my slave. If you win. Naruto said. So what are your terms? Yang asked. A favor. One day, that day may never come, but if it does, one favor. You could even say no to it. Then what's the point of it? Don't worry about details. You don't have to do the favor, just know that many people owe me favors. Even barbers. Naruto said in a chilling tone and with an evil grin that would put the Grinch to shame. Doesn't scare me because I'm going to win. Yang replied, but then Naruto extended his hand. Yang stared at it, second by second. Her instincts were screaming at her, she started sweating and she could hear her own heartbeat. Why am I nervous? There's no way I could lose. She thought to herself. When Yang was young, she had read a book on Norse mythology. When she looked up at Naruto, she could have sworn she saw an image of Loki behind Naruto bowing. Yang shut her eyes as hard as she could as she extended her arm and accepted. 1 hour later. Naruto. This went too far. Stop. Yang yelled. She was too tired to continue and had doomed Beacon. Naruto didn't stop at pranking her, every locker in the school was filled with mines that blew up with oil and feathers, Professor Oobleck's coffee was missing, causing him to chase Ozpin for his, taking Ozpin and Glinda out of the situation. Team CRDL, the ones who tried to pick on Naruto before he left the school, were found chained to the fountain in bathing suits. Team JNPR were supposed to go to Vale for the free day, instead they were covered in paint with buckets of cement stuck on their feet. The library had timed sirens in strategic places, so the students who would run from one area would trigger another siren and hit tripwires, which would open some books that had seals in them that shot month-old mashed potatoes at the kids. Blake got out of there quickly, being nimble, but Naruto took that into account. As Blake hopped up to her bed, a sentry gun lowered from the ceiling. She thought she could jump out of the window, but the gun didn't shoot bullets. It shot non-damaging lasers. The sentry began going crazy, waving everywhere and making Blake chase it everywhere. Naruto disassembled Ruby's side then hid certain screws. He even bought all the screws from stores in Vale, so Ruby couldn't fix it. But, the most damaging he cut a piece of Yang's hair. You made the mistake. You've awakened the pranking god. Nothing can stop me. Noth. Just then, the epitome of anticlimactic moments happened. In the middle of his sentence Naruto fell asleep. He didn't literally fall either. He stood there, still in his pose. The only indication he was asleep was his head was slightly tilted back and there was a bubble coming out of his nose. Everyone present sweat dropped. 2 days passed and Naruto was still dead asleep, so they took him to the hospital in Vale. I have good news and bad news. The doctor said. The bad news is you teens just made me late to my daughter's birthday party. The doctor said, glaring at Team rwby and JNPR who sheepishly looked away. The doctor sighed, the good news is your friend's going to be fine. If you said he was asleep for the last 2 days, it would make sense to believe that the day before that, he was running on fumes. Shortened, he overworked himself. Wait a second. You said he was running on fumes. Blake yelled. Indeed. They all sat down, noticing what this meant. John was the first to speak. 1 hour he was running on fumes and it only took him an hour to prank literally everyone in Beacon. That's a monster stamina, Purah said. But of course, leave it to Yang to change moods. God damn, no wonder Weiss's legs were that shaky. Chapter 12. Calm before the storm. So that's it? Ren said. What are you talking about, that's it? Mine is bigger than yours. John replied a little offended. Size is irrelevant, with my skill, mine is just as effective as yours plus, I kinda thought it would be I don't know, bigger. Ren said. Kids, please. Naruto chimed in, literally putting his on the table. Not only is mine bigger than both of yours combined, I have the skill to use it. Weebu's size doesn't matter. John yelled. It kinda does. Yang shouted from across the hall. John slouched and sat down. What I tell ya? You just can't compete with the executioner blade. Naruto said, sheathing his enormous sword. I just wanted to show off my upgrade, John pouted. He had his family's sword modified, with their permission of course. Now, when he pressed a button on the hilt, the blade would break apart. Literally. If he swung at, say, a shield, the blade could separate and stay connected at the same time. A confusing concept, he could separate it and move the sword as if nothing was wrong, and then reconnect it. Ren stuck with his knife SMGs, not wanting to have to change the fighting style he had mastered. Yeah, Boo Naruto started but was cut off by Weiss shouting, SHHHHHH, everyone be quiet. Weiss yelled from Naruto's room. Team JNPR, RWBY and Toma ran to Naruto's room to see what the commotion was about. Weiss turned up the television in there. Weiss. Why the hell are you in my row? SHHHH. You're the only one with a TV and cable. Look. Everyone looked at the plasma TV on the wall and saw the news. In recent news, the group calling themselves the Revolutionary Army have decimated several military bases and have hijacked a Schnee Dust Company frigate. The military bases they have decimated, though, are the ones with criminal charges against them over felonies ranging from rape to murder. More, at 10 o'clock this evening. This is bad. This is horribly bad. Blake said, literally at the wall on the opposite side of the room to the TV. I thought you didn't like the Schnee Company. I mean, I know the frigate had civilians, but Ruby said, never finishing. No. Not that. The Revolutionary Army. Blake yelled. They all stared at her strangely. I've heard of them, but all I hear are rumors about the 4 generals that lead them. Weiss said. Rumors? Blake exclaimed. Yes, Blake. Rumors. There's no way they can be true. Like a rumor that one of them causes storms. Or the other that makes earthquakes. Blake nearly yelled. If any of that were true, they could have finished off their little revolution already. Weiss argued. Wow, calm down. Both of you, there's no need to yell. Naruto stated. Oh, wouldn't you know, Mr. Executioner Blade? How about you keep your opinions to yourself? John exclaimed. You leave Tails alone, asshole. That surprisingly came from Nora. Purah yelled at Nora for yelling at John, and Ren was yelling at Purah for yelling at Nora, and Yang yelled at Ren because she was feeling left out. Ruby and Naruto were all trying hard to stop the warfare happening in the room, but to no avail. Naruto looked towards the door and saw a man leaning on the wall on the other side of the hall grinning. He was very tall, standing at 6'7" and was very built. He had wavy hair that went a little past his shoulders and a small goatee. He grinned and walked off, but when Naruto peeked his head out of the door, the guy was gone. Naruto turned around to see that everyone stopped arguing and everyone who were arguing were holding their heads. God damn, feels like my head got smacked with a bat. John said. What exactly happened? Ren said. I don't know, you guys all just started arguing and getting angry at each other. Ruby said, a bit shocked at what happened. Oh no. Blake said with wide open eyes. He was here. Who was here? Weiss asked. One of the generals. He has a semblance that turns people against each other. People get incredibly angry and start arguing with each other, even going into violence. Blake. How do you know this? Naruto asked in a serious tone. I watched the Blake started on her lie, but Naruto cut her off. You just told me that people could break out into violence. You are all my friends and almost began to hurt each other. I need to know everything. Naruto said. The same goes for you, though. Ren spoke up, not influenced by semblance or any outside forces. Like how can you make multiple versions of yourself? Chalk it up to Semb. No. I've had enough of having to chalk things up to semblance. You say we're all your friends, but you won't even tell us the truth about anything. Weiss yelled, fed up with Naruto. Naruto looked around, seeing everyone staring expectantly. Okay, you know what? Today's bonding day. We all tell our life, no holding back, I'll go last. Why are you going last? Many exclaimed. Because trust me. There's shit, a lot actually, that will be said. Plus you would all probably never believe me. Everyone's sweat dropped, but knew they wouldn't get any more out of it. Nor and Ren described their lives together, since kids as best friends I don't know their backstories. When they were done, as if on cue, everyone looked at Weiss, who was right next to them. Sigh okay, so it's like this. Chapter 13. Skeletons in the closet. Weiss sighed. Okay, my name is Weiss Schnee. I'm the youngest, but I am to be the heiress of the Schnee company. As you all know, I hated the Faunus race. I realize it's stupid because I didn't hate them, just a specific group. She started. The White Fang. Blake said. One bad apple ruins the bunch like they say. My hate for them just kept rising until I stopped hating them specifically and hated all Faunus. Look, I know that my family is known for some bad connections, but that's my father. He had the connections, but because of the White Fang, there were less and less people at the dinner table. They didn't dare touch the main family, but growing up, there were less and less people around. But that is the past and I'm becoming a hunter because I'm going to break that hate people have for my family's name. The company didn't start with my dad and I'll be damned if it ends with him. Weiss said proudly. She got some nice looks as their opinions of her raised. Although Blake still disliked her because the way she told her story, it seemed like humans were the victims and didn't fire any shots. Her opinion of her did slightly raise, though. Everyone looked to Yang and Ruby, who told their story. They spoke of how they had the same dad, but different mothers. Yang told the story of how she left with Ruby to search for her mother at a young age, how they were attacked, but their Uncle Crow saved them. Ruby spoke of how she went through gruesome training to learn how to use Crescent Rose, her weapon, and of her fears that people would treat her special because of how she got in early. They told their dreams and the mic was passed, metaphorically, to Purah. Purah was not the special, Spartan super soldier people thought her to be. I train constantly, I always try to match the expectations people have of me, but the very people who put me on this high pedestal try to push me off when I pass their thoughts. I always battled and the fame was great at first, but eventually, people stopped approaching me. Purah said as she tucked her knees to her chin. I just wanted to be a normal girl, but rumors began going around. People started saying I thought I was better than everyone, they thought I thought that I was too good for them, and no one sat with me or spoke with me unless they needed me. But, that changed this year. Now I have actual friends and someone approached me like a normal girl like I've always wanted. She said as everyone smiled at her. The smiles turned into surprised looks when Purah turned and kissed John on the cheek. John, who was supposed to go next, kind of got incredibly red from the action and fainted. Seeing no one doing anything, everyone looked on to Blake. I don't have anything to say, she started to say until Naruto reached up and pulled her bow, revealing the cat ears. Naruto. Blake said in a very, very dangerous tone. You weren't going to tell. Do what you want, I'm a clone. Naruto replied. He really wasn't and if minds could poop, he was soiling himself on the inside, praying to whoever would answer for her not to call his bluff. Everyone, needless to say, was shocked. They also looked to Weiss, who actually didn't look like she cared. Why didn't you tell us you were a Faunus? Ruby yelled. Why does it matter whether I'm a Faunus or not? Blake retorted. It matters because we're a team. If you can't trust us with something like that, how can we trust you with our lives? Yang said in a sad angry tone. On the team, Blake was slowly opening up but not telling them something very important like that. Trust was essential for a team and she honestly thought they were all closer. Weiss. How are you not freaking out right now? Ruby yelled asked. You're all surprised. You all never notice dogs bark at her and her hissing back. Or her bow wiggle sometimes. Or the fact she always eats fish. Weiss said. You knew? Blake asked in surprise. Of course. I'm the Schnee heiress after all, if I couldn't notice that, how could I hope to turn the Schnee company around? Weiss said with a faint smile. Speaking of faint, John still knocked out just wanted to point that out. Deep sigh that's not the part I didn't want to say though. I was part of the White Fang. Blake said. Weiss took on the reaction everyone thought she would initially. What? What the hell do you mean you were part of the? Weiss was stopped and had her mouth covered by Naruto. Hey, it's awesome you're obviously passionate about this subject, but sound travels through walls. Trust me, it does, and this isn't the kind of thing you want around. Naruto said, but then went to a more casual tone. Actually, while we're on the subject of sounds through walls, who the hell watches porn early in the morning? Naruto asked curiously. Everyone's eyes grew wide and they were blushing all, except for one who raised her hand. That would be me. Yang said. Why? I'll show you some time. Yang replied. Everyone got red again. Not like that pervs. Ahem. Blake said. Oh right, my bad. Naruto said. He proceeded to sitting directly behind Weiss and kept his hand over her mouth. Weiss tried to hide the blush she had about the situation, but Blake began speaking again. I left. I joined Young when we were a small group that was well respected. We did peaceful protest, leaving when we were asked by police, never breaking out in violence. That all changed though. The leader suddenly disappeared and someone else rose up. We started stealing, sabotaging and committing vandalism. I left for 2 reasons. Blake said. They wanted me to kill a family. I was the only one who could get in because of my stealth, but I refused. I was only 14. I didn't and still don't want to kill. Those words hit Naruto. He had made his first kill at 11, on a grown man at that. He kept forgetting just how different things were from his time. Everyone sent Blake sympathetic looks of never killing. Naruto couldn't give those looks. The other reason I left, we were attacked. I was beat for denying the command, and when we got back to the base, the doors were destroyed. I saw members breaking each other, shooting each other, best friends killing each other. In the end, there was a single guy that walked out of the base. Really tall, wavy hair, muscled, tanned. Naruto asked. How did you know? When you were all arguing, I saw him outside. He just grinned and disappeared. He was here. The whole base was destroyed, leaving barely any survivors. I ran. I ran as quick as I could and looked back once. There was a guy flying and he shot lightning, finishing off survivors that stayed at the base. The 4 dragons of the Revolutionary Army are real. I witnessed what they could do in half a day. Blake said, obviously shooken up. Weiss disliked the fact Blake lied, but thought about it. She actually saw people killing each other, people disintegrating. It was no wonder she didn't want to speak of her past. That's it. Now I'm here. I know I can't make up for everything I've done, but I'll sure as hell try. Blake said. With that, everyone looked to Naruto, who still had his hand over Weiss's mouth. Oh, it's my turn? Naruto asked. Well, if it's like that I gotta start from the beg. Naruto Uzumaki, please report to the headmaster's office. I repeat, Naruto Uzumaki, please report to the headmaster's office. Thank you. Welp. Naruto said, clapping as he turned into orange light that flashed away. Bidiju. Chapter 14. Mission details and a fated moment. Boy, Ozpin. You wanted to see me? Naruto asked, walking in. Ah, Mr. Uzumaki. Yes, please have a seat. Ozpin said as he motioned for Naruto to take a seat. Mr. Uzumaki, what I am about to tell you is imperative to your future, as well as the rests. The rests? Naruto questioned. The doors swing open. Team CRDL reporting for duty, sir. Carden, the leader of said team, saluted but visually scowled at the sight of the 9-tailed faunus. No. Naruto turned back to Ozpin. Ozzy, no. I can't. I just can't work with these idiots. What was that fox breathe? Carden asked, putting out his chest. Welcome to my world, Dove said under his breath. Naruto smirked a bit at that, being the only one to hear due to his enhanced senses. He guessed the Dove was the more level-headed one of the team. Naruto then turned back to Carden and kept his glare. Ahem. Ozpin made himself known again. If you two are done, I'd like to continue. The two continued to glare at each other for a few seconds until both turned to him, in cinch may I add. Now that that is done with, I've called you all for the sake of a mission. Ozpin stated, sipping his coffee. What are the details? Both Naruto and Carden asked in cinch again, making them glare at each other. Both CRDL and Toma will be guarding a dust shipment by the Schnee Dust Company. The head has asked that our best teams defend this shipment and had given us no further information on it besides the driver, meeting and departing time and locations. Ozpin informed the two. Yes, sir. Carden said without a second thought. Naruto was in a thinking pose, however. Best teams to protect a dust shipment. I don't like how it sounds. I should go to make sure these morons don't get themselves killed. Did Naruto dislike Team CRDL? Yes. With a passion. But it wasn't in his nature to let comrades get killed. A bad comrade is still a comrade. Okay, I guess I'll go. Naruto said, scratching the back of his head. Troublesome, he said, honoring his friend. Ozpin smiled at the cooperation. Good to hear, your teams will meet at the landing pad at 7:30 and arrive at Vale at 8 o'clock. You will meet at building 1738 in the warehouse district at 10:30, giving you 2 hours and 30 minutes to prepare. Are there any questions? The boy stayed silent. Good. You are dismissed, but Naruto, please stay behind. I have something I'd like to speak with you about. Osborne said, waiting until Team CRDN left. What's up, Ozzy? Naruto asked in a relaxed, carefree mood, now that Carden was gone. Glinda, please activate the seals. Osborne said, making Glinda walk over to a wall and putting her hand on it. A soundproof seal had activated, making sure not even the most attentive of Franus could hear, even through the door. She can use chakra? Naruto asked, surprised. Osborne shook his head, and I barely could. I came after the split of chakra into aura and semblance. It took years of training and constant meditation to be able to manipulate it into my sword. My sensei tweaked some things so some seals can be activated through aura and taught me. That is besides the point, though. Osborne took a moment to recompose himself. Naruto, what I'm telling you will not be easy, knowing your connection with the toads. Holy shit. Thanks, Ozzy. How the hell could I forget? Oh man, I bet Gamakichi's the clan head. Oh man, it'll be good to see Ma and Pa Aga. Naruto. Osborne said to get his attention. Naruto looked his way, brimming with excitement. The Grimm are incomplete versions of the 10-tailed beast. Osborne said. Yeah, I already know that. Naruto said, looking at Osborne a bit confused. Naruto, the energy itself did not manifest into the beings. The 10 tails energy needed to go into something, and it found anything human-like unwanted. Osborne said, letting Naruto connect the dots. Hey now. Just what are you trying to say? Naruto laughed nervously, hoping Osborne was kidding. He was not. What the hell do you mean the summons are grim? Naruto yelled, loud enough to mildly break through the seal, causing Glinda to cover her ears and Osborne to shut his eyes tight. The toads, who had accepted him before the village did. Pa, who trained him into his physically strongest mode. Ma, who fed him and treated his wounds from said training. Gamabunta, the chief toad that saved his life on more than one occasion, and finally Gamakichi. His personal summon, one of his best friends. And Osborne was telling them they were not only gone, but reduced to mindless monsters hellbent on murdering humans. Naruto instantly kicked down the door and ran back to his room. He could have teleported, but logic was not in his brain at the moment. Back at the hallway, JNPR and RWBY heard feet scrambling and saw a blonde blur before they heard a door kick down. They all ran to see a frantic Naruto looking around the room. Naruto, what the heck? You left us all hanging. Weiss exclaimed. She has a point, muscles. She stopped. Before them was not the normal pranking god Naruto. The eyes of a cheerful pranking sunshine were gone, replaced with eyes full of fear, loneliness and regret. He ran over to his wall before he punched it, making a big hole. He reached inside and pulled a big scroll out, opening it before he but his thumb and smeared some of his blood on it. Summoning jutsu. He yelled. Nothing happened. He was panting, but he bit his thumb and smeared it again. Summoning jutsu. Nothing happened. Naruto stayed there on his knees as tears streamed down his face. Then the tears suddenly stopped, evaporating the second they were formed. The air grew harder to breathe and gravity seemed to slowly increase. Before anyone knew it, they were all on the ground, not even able to scream. Weiss, despite seeming like the most frail one, actually moved. She crawled her way to Naruto, reaching for him, but her arm fell. But as it fell, it bumped fist with Naruto and unbeknownst to her, that was all she needed. 30 seconds had passed before they noticed the air grew lighter, they were able to move again before everything went normal. Although questions were asked, Naruto informed them it had been a very taxing day on him and that he was exhausted. More questions sprouted, though they weren't asked, when Weiss took his side and opted to let him rest. Although disappointed, the group went back to their separate rooms, but RWBY was missing a member. Well, I'll be damned. Yang said with a smirk. What's wrong? Wait a minute, where's Weiss? Ruby asked, Blake also looking around. Yang pushed them into the room before saying, SHHH. Weiss is getting her legs shaky again. Chapter 15. First mission. Beginning. Naruto. Weiss asked, her head on his chest. Before I go on, let me say shame on you. They are both fully clothed and did not engage in the activities you're thinking of. Pervert. She's also lying horizontally. Anyways, yo. Naruto responded, moving his head to see her. When my fist touched yours, Weiss paused, not knowing how to carry on with the subject. Naruto lied his head back down. Yeah. It's something I picked up from a great teacher and better friend. I still don't exactly know how it happens, but when I make a fist-to-fist connection, the souls connect. He said calmly, remembering his training with Killer Bee or Karabi if you're one of those people, nostalgically. Wait, souls connecting? How is that possible? Naruto shrugged, it was rumored only experienced warriors could speak through fist-to-fist combat or combat in general. I'm guessing he used that as a template and upgraded it. Is everyone you know geniuses? She stated more than asked. Nah, before I got to Beacon I met this dude named Gavin. Not the brightest person, happy and funny, but there were things. Things? Weiss asked. Well, for one, he thought cars had headlight fluid. Another time he thought if you were on the verge of starving to death, you could continue living if someone showed food to you. Naruto told her. 10 seconds passed with no response, yeah. Things like that. But he's a great person as long as you're not playing a video game with him. But back to what I was trying to say, when our souls connected. I saw people. White figures, but when I focused, I saw a man who looked like you without the fronticide, a woman with red hair and some old guy who looked at me and gave your unconscious body a disappointed look. Weiss said, the last part was muttered. She forgot Naruto's fronticide, letting him hear her. Ahahaha. That's Jiraiya. He was my godfather. We didn't have the same taste for women. Naruto said, chuckling. The first two those were my parents. Naruto told her. Wait, what? Weiss asked frantically, sitting straight up. Naruto thought he did something wrong. What's wrong? He asked. I met your parents like this. This is my battle attire. I didn't do my hair, I didn't wear my special makeup, Weiss was going on. Naruto stopped her and laid back down. That's it. Oh Kami, I thought something horrible happened. Don't worry, my parents are humble people, they don't really like overdoing aesthetic things unless it was for the mission. What you're wearing now, they'd still see as too much. They go for simple things. Naruto in there, I met a girl. She had dark blue hair and pupil-less eyes. Yeah. Her name was Hinata. Naruto said in a sad tone. Who was she? Weiss asked. Yo Weiss, I have to prepare for the mission. I'm a flowers and chocolates kind of guy and you've given me none, so you can't see me naked just yet. Naruto used dodge question, it was super effective. Weiss began blushing like crazy before she ran out of the room. After the mission I'll tell them after the mission. He thought to himself. Released his storage seal and put on his armor, strapping the executioner blade to his back. For the next few hours, until it hit 8:30, Naruto was making sure anything that could go wrong wouldn't. After that he meditated until there was a knock on the door. No, there wasn't, the door was kicked open, I was just trying to make the assailant nicer. Sup muscles? Nothing much, boobs. Boobs? Yang questioned. You call me muscles because it's my great feature. I'm doing the same to you. Naruto replied. I have a great personality fee. Yeah, no. If you did, I wouldn't be calling you boobs. He said, opening his eyes just to give her a blank face. Yeah, so did you two do it? You guys did, didn't you? Details. No, I am not Moses and I didn't part her seas. Naruto said, returning into meditation mode. Yang frowned at that as she walked past him and jumped onto his bed. Why do you get the comfy big bed? Yang asked rhetorically. Perks of being awesome. To tell the truth, though, I sleep on the floor. What the serious hell is wrong with you? Yang asked, sitting up to stare at him. Naruto shrugged, I'm not used to luxury. He let slip out, cursing himself in his mind. Before Yang could question what he said, Naruto used one of his most powerful jutsus that even worked on a god. The reverse harem jutsu. 9 shirtless clones of different males appeared around her, lifting her to a seat, fanning and catering to her. Yang completely forgot anything she was attempting to say, being overwhelmed. Welp, it's 8:45, I should go to the airship. Peace. He said, walking out, dispelling the jutsu as he left, leaving a fainted Yang dying of blood loss from her nose. As he walked he was stopped by Weiss at the end of the hall. Be careful. She said. Princess, it's me. What's gonna break me? He asked rhetorically. Osman knows what you're capable of. He wouldn't send you on a mission unless it was a suicide mission for average people. Naruto patted her head, chuckling at the look of murder she gave him. Don't worry. And princess, I promise to tell you all everything when I get back. It's a promise and I never go back on my promises. He said before he kissed her forehead and walked away. 2 hours and 15 minutes later. Naruto arrived at the rendezvous point with Team CRDN in tow, meeting the truck driver at a warehouse before the highway out of town. Yo, the name's Dakota, I'll be the driver for this evening. He raised a flask to potential death. He said before downing it. You're drinking and driving? Dove asked. You police? Dakota retorted. Relax, this is just Kool-Aid. Come on and hop in the back, the shipment isn't to be touched though. Not even by me, words from up top. He said, hopping into the driver's seat of the heavily armored truck. They were 30 minutes out of Vale before Naruto spoke. Isn't this truck a bit too armored for an average dust run? He asked. Nah, what's not on the news is that the Revolutionary Army have actually stolen more than just what's shown. Right now the company needs as much of the dust as possible because of the losses. Dakota replied. It seemed to satisfy Naruto and the rest's curiosity. He was actually very surprised when his shoulder was tapped by Carden, who was next to him. Look, I hate you, you probably hate me. We both have an understanding on that. But this is a mission, and the reason we're at the top is because mission lives are different and we gotta trust each other to pull off teamwork. Temporary truce. Carden said, extending his hand. Naruto took it, nodding in response. You know, despite my insults, you're pretty professional for a ginger. Naruto said, smirking. Same to you for a blonde idiot. Carden replied with the same smirk. So Dakota, what's the estimated T? That was all that came out of Skylark's mouth before the side of the truck blew up. Chapter 16. First mission. Ambush. Oh, what the hell? Naruto yelled, getting out of the overturned armored truck. 30 minutes. 30 freaking minutes. Dove looked out the window. We got company. No shit, Sherlock. We just got blasted, of course we have company. Carden yelled. Revolutionary Army. Skylark asked as they all hopped out and took defensive positions around the truck. Then a helicarrier dropped down, releasing several troops in white battle armor with a red saber tooth on their chest. White Fang. Russell yelled. Team Steel Wing, sniper coverage. Team Homewrecker on me. Carden yelled as Dove converted his sword into two separate gun blades and began firing. Sky shifted his halberd and began firing it as a rifle, efficiently taking out a Fang trooper who was going to attack Russell from behind. There were a lot, far too many for the average dust shipment. There were 3 stories in Naruto's head. The White Fang really needed the dust, the White Fang and Revolutionary Army are working together, or story number 3. They were lied to and it wasn't dust. He put those ideas away as he summoned his chakra chains in his left hand and wielded the executioner blade with his right. Naruto used his chain to wrap around one troop and slam him into another while using the massive blade as a shield. Carden ran from behind him with Russell in his arms. Oh god. Naruto groaned, seeing what he was about to do. No brakes on the CRDL train, woot woot. He yelled as he chucked Rusil at a mob of soldiers. Russell was lucky, their aim was worse than stormtroopers, and that was saying something. Russell soared past bullets before extending his arms, clotheslining 2 Fang soldiers. He proceeded to pull out his daggers and effectively incapacitate soldiers. One raised his rifle to take him out and was silenced by Carden throwing his mace. It was then Naruto noticed Carden's strength because 2 soldiers tried to pull the mace off of their ally, but it wouldn't budge. Dove shot the 2 down as Carden ran, lifted his mace off the soldier and swung it upwards, lifting another soldier off the ground. Naruto was about to join in until he sensed a presence closing in. Fast. Naruto lifted his head and saw it begin to storm. Storms, where did I hear this before? He thought to himself. Those thoughts were then replaced with, holy shit. As he was tackled away from the battlefield at blinding speeds. The 2 finally came to a clearing and the person stopped, making Naruto flip and hold the ground to stop himself. When he saw the person in front of him, the first thing he said was, Neared. What? The voice was deep, but not too deep. If his voice was anything to indicate, Naruto would say the guy was 1 year younger than him. Well, 1 year younger than what he would be, skipping the time travel. The teen in front of him wore dragon armor, reminiscent of a game Naruto played once, only it was all black with gold trim. Think Kane Highwind from Final Fantasy IV, but different color scheme. What irked Naruto was, he was a respectable 6'3". This teen, younger than him, was at least 2 inches over him. You're in cliché battle armor, dragons are overdone, you did the cliché of surprise attacking me out of the important area. I'm going to guess you're part of the Revolutionary Army and you made a treaty with White Fang to attack the Shnee Company. Naruto said proudly, standing as tall as he could. First off, this armor is awesome. Fuck you. Second, I don't give a single fuck about the White Fang. It's pretty stupid that they're the White Fang and the insignia is red on their armor. You were right about the Revolutionary Army part though, but we didn't make a treaty with those worthless pawns. The teen responded. So which one are you? Naruto asked. The 4th dragon, you can call me S. He said. So if you don't have a treaty with the Fang, why are you here? Well, my brothers told me not to try, but I can't contain myself. S grew a sinister grin. SHHHH, I'd rather they not find out. He said. A wind began whirling around him. You really shouldn't do that, I'm a natural when it comes to why. Naruto was interrupted by S's fist in his mouth, actually succeeding in sending him back. No more talk. S yelled, disappearing again, kicking Naruto's back to stop his launch. Oh, I might be a tank, but that doesn't mean I can't feel pain, asshole. Naruto yelled, seeing S grin. You lived. Go on, your turn. S yelled excitedly, spreading his arms. Naruto stared at him with a confused look. What? I'm the youngest. I get stuck with the shit jobs. I'm always on cleanup, I never get to fight good opponents. he said, still excited. Go on. Your attack. Naruto stared at him. Are you a psycho? Yup. He said back. Gotta give him points for honesty. Naruto weighed his options and decided to give it a go. He didn't want to kill him so he held back but still gave enough power to send him back through a tree. Naruto assumed it was over so he began walking. CRDN was probably done and wondering where the hell he was. Naruto's face greeted the floor as soon as his thoughts of going left his mind. His face proceeded to scrape along the ground before he was thrown into the air. Before he could register what the hell was going on, he was impacted by a spear made of lightning, the spear breaking its form and electrocuting Naruto. He then felt a heavy punch into his gut, launching him further into the air. He then felt his hair get pulled as he felt another hand grabbing an ankle and 2 feet on his back. Just above the ground, the hands released and the feet shoved him further into the ground. Naruto laid there for a few seconds before sticking his head out of the dirt, inhaling deeply. What the serious hell did I say before? He yelled, angry. He looked up to see us absolutely pissed, though. You're mad because I hit you? You told me to hit you. He yelled. Fuck you. I told you to hit me and you pitied me. I would have much rather died from your full power than live from your mercy. S said in a cold voice, disappointed. He disappeared again. He must have really been angry because Naruto actually couldn't sense where his presence was going, so he went along with his instincts and turned around. Whenever people vanish, it's always for the back at it. Naruto received a smashing punch to the back of the head. You think I'm that stupid? Everyone expects a back hit. S yelled. He was really starting to piss Naruto off. S appeared over him and attempted to axe kick him, but was stopped when Naruto grabbed his leg. Naruto raised from the ground. Naruto proceeded to smash him into the ground repeatedly before swinging him around and throwing him into a tree. The second S hit the tree, he was greeted by a drop kick, breaking him through the forest. He then open palmed S's chest, placing a seal there and jumped away. S didn't know what the seal was, but knew it wasn't at all good. He ripped the chest plate off and threw it like a discus at Naruto, who hit it, sending it flipping upwards with 2 of his tri-tipped kunai that he wielded like daggers. The two charged each other and began duking it out, dodging and throwing punches at each other with determination. Their small session was interrupted when Naruto sensed his seal coming back into range. He smirked and teleported above S with his seal that was on the chest plate. He hit up and delivered a powerful flipping axe kick to S's head. Again he began walking away before S grabbed his leg. I finally got a chance to fight someone strong. You think I'll let you away with a win? He said. In his other hand was a small lightning ball that was growing in size. I mastered the wind part of my semblance, but the lightning? Not so much. My control over it sucks so much, the result is it explodes, the energy has to go somewhere. He yelled, the electricity bigger than a basketball. Then it was stopped with a simple smack of the head. Naruto looked at the assailant and saw a giant, 3 to be exact. One was the guy he saw earlier that caused his friends to argue, another was a guy who looked like him, but he was taller and his face was more narrow, he was playing a Nintendo DS. He was at least 6'8". The third and final one had short hair, glasses and a toned build. He wore dark cargos, a black t-shirt and rectangular glasses, he looked 6'6". Sam you idiot, that was a suicide move. The one from earlier said. Fuck you, I had him. It was gonna be a perfect ending. Sam was cut off by another smack to the head, this time harder. We'll be taking him. The one with glasses said. Wait. It's safe to assume you guys are the 4 dragons. Naruto said. The one from earlier responded, that's correct. Why the hell are you robbing all these dust shipments? He asked. This got a chuckle from the one playing the DS, who seemed to be the eldest. So they told you it was dust you were escorting. PFFT. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Naruto questioned, but he was never answered as they shunshed it away. Shinobi. More survived. He thought to himself. But the words from the older one got to him. If it isn't dust, let's go see what the hell it is. Chapter 17. First mission. First mission. Time that should have been forgotten. Let's find out what the hell is in there then. Naruto said, walking through the forest. His armor was partially damaged, the left shoulder part missing, while there were multiple dents in his chest plate, both in front and behind, and he was missing his left shin guard. Naruto finally got back to the truck, seeing Team CRDN leaning, waiting for him. Where the hell have you been? Carden was angry, but his rant was stopped when he noticed the damage of Naruto's armor. Okay, really now, where the hell have you been? He asked, surprised he had taken such damage. One of the dragons came, he was too fast for you to notice, he tackled me, and we fought a pretty far ways from here. It was then that Dakota stuck his head out of the truck. Dragons? Revolutionaries? He asked. No, a real 5-story big dragon tackled me out of here and none of you noticed. Naruto said sarcastically. Yeesh, someone saltier than the fries I just ate. Dakota said, taking another swig from his flask. "We were eating fries while we fought for our lives." Dove exclaimed. Yeah. Hello, can't fight. The reason we hired you guys." Dakota replied with a deadpan face. Naruto's eyes turned to steel when he remembered Dakota. He walked over and ripped off the front door of the truck and pulled him out. "Whoa, Naruto, what the hell?" Carden yelled, rushing to him. Naruto pointed at him. "Shut up." He looked back at Dakota, then closed his eyes. When they opened, his eyes were yellow instead of blue and had bar-like pupils. "In this mode, I can sense your heartbeat. I'll know when you're lying." "What's in that shipment?" Naruto asked coldly. "I don't know." Dakota said frantically. "What did I just say? I can sense you lying," he exclaimed. He threw Dakota backwards into a tree. He proceeded to go to the crate in the back of the truck. "Hey. I said no one can touch the." The top was ripped off, revealing enough explosive tags to nuke Vale 3 times over. Naruto was beyond angry. He loved the nostalgia of looking back at his time, but the cold reminder that his time was that of war hit him hard. He took off his hat that was covering his eyes and stared deep into Dakota's, concentrating crippling amounts of killing intent on him to ensure no lies. "What the hell does the Schnee Company want with explosive tags?" he asked coldly. Team CRDL was staring, confused. "What?" I said, what the hell does the Schnee Company want with explosive tags? WWW what? Say what again, I dare you, I double dare you, motherfucker. DT, they use it for research to improve their weapon schematics. Dakota replied. And where did they get these? What? Naruto touched his seal on his left thigh and pulled out his metal boxing gloves, letting them go over Dakota's groin. Everyone, even Naruto who did it, cringed. They excavated some village with faces carved into a mountain. Please get them off. Naruto took them off and looked at Carden and his team. Go back to Vale, tell Osborn they lied about the mission. What are you going to do? Carden asked, fearful. What I should have done before I left that place. Naruto said, picking up Dakota and storing the tags in a storage scroll. He then flickered away to a discreet location. He put Dakota at a tree. You're going to tell me any and everything you know. Will you kill me? Dakota asked. Naruto crouched in front of him, pulling out his tri-tipped kunai and pointing it at Dakota's groin. Oh, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna hurt you. Really. Really. Bad. Needless to say, Naruto learned everything that was needed. He knocked Dakota out and left him on the side of a road he knew a Schnee truck would pass. Naruto found out it was his fault. The villages were never found until one day a satellite viewed him on Lenny entering the villages. After the discovery, the company and the military sent excavation teams to the villages. They found nothing in the mist, it only being a merchant town, but Konoha was a gold mine. Currently, the excavation teams were called back to report findings and conduct experiments, but they left a large amount of armored detail. Nothing the one-man army couldn't handle. Excavation teams 7 through 13 were sent back out for field work. This fucking sucks, 1 through 6 get to conduct experiments, but we're back to picking through trash. One of the researchers said. I concur, this village shows great potential for history, possibly breaking multiple records. The researcher was stopped as their truck came to a skidding stop, launching many of them around the truck. Holy what the hell, man. Too much to ask for a warning. The researcher didn't get an answer. Looking through the peephole he saw the driver's eyes wide, mouth open. The researchers all exited the vehicles, seeing why the drivers were so shocked. A total of 68 soldiers were left as security for the village. All 68 bodies were lying before them, half a mile from the village. In front of the gate was a single person in armor. He looked up at the researchers, walking forward. Leave. You've gone far enough into a time that should have been forgotten. He said with a cold tone. What the hell? Do you know who you're dealing with? The Schnee Company, main supplier of dust around Remnant and currently spreading their influences into vaster parts of the market. And you're still trying to interfere. The researcher yelled. Naruto stepped closer to them. He released enough killing intent to make them breathe hard and they were damn near a mile away. He then raised his hand, it glowing green, and said loud enough for them to hear, the shinobi era ends with me. Then Konohagakure no Sato was erased from any map they thought to make, leaving nothing but a crater. Chapter 18. The Tale of Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto reported to Osborn directly after he did his deed. He entered the doors, seeing Team CRDN off to the side with Glinda Goodwitch and an unknown man next to Osborn. Welcome back. I trust you have a reason, foe. Let's cut the bullshit, Osborn. The man next to him said. Uzumaki, what the hell did you do with that cargo? Wouldn't you like to know, Mr. Naruto asked. Ironwood. As in the general of Vale's military. Ah, so I'm guessing you wanted what was in the box, huh? What the hell do you think? I think Raymond sounds good right about now. Naruto said, turning to walk off. Please? Osborn asked. Naruto sighed and turned around. I used them. You what? You looted the explosive tags from a village. I used the tags. And what the hell did you use it on? Well, Konoha isn't there anymore. Everyone went wide-eyed at this. What? What the hell gives you the right? Do you know what you've done? How many technical advancements that could have been made? What gives me the right? The fact that it was my home and I am the last survivor. And do I know what advances could have been made? Yes. All bad. When it comes to medical, economics and laws, this time stumps the shinobi era. The only thing we excelled in was war, which you should be working to prevent. Naruto replied, getting angrier as he did. What do you mean we? Ironwood asked. I mean, the shinobi era ends with me. Naruto said coldly, turning and leaving. Naruto entered his hallway to be tackled by Weiss. Are you okay? Were you hurt? What happened? Did you see a different girl? Are you Bree? She was cut off by a kiss. You know, I kinda expected you to be at Sundeer. Naruto said, getting up with her. What on earth is that? Weiss asked. Well know what, I'll tell you later. Get everyone, I promised you guys an explanation. Everyone was gathered in Naruto's room again, back in the same circle they were in. Well, I gotta start from the beginning. The very beginning, and to say that, I have to tell the truth. Naruto looked at each of them in the eye. I'm not from this time. It took a moment for people to register what the pranking god was saying. Really, Naruto? We tell our story and you're still lying. Weiss shouted frustratingly. Her argument was cut with Naruto grabbing a scroll from seemingly nowhere and tossed it to her. Blake, you said the language I speak is a dead language. Naruto asked. Yes, there is barely anything linked to it and even fewer who know the tongue. That's because it's from the era of shinobi. Naruto let that sink in. So you're a time-traveling ninja? Yang asked, reaching for her phone. Hello? Veil Asylum? Yes, I'm going to need the phone was destroyed by a kunai with pinpoint accuracy. Dimensional traveling ninja, there's no such thing as time traveling. I know how it sounds, but I'm not crazy. My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. I am the last known remaining ninja from the era. Naruto said with strong conviction and pride, but also sadness and anger. To tell my story, it begins with a man who we called the Sage of Six Paths. Before the ninja era, he fought a monstrous beast named the rwby. When he defeated it, he turned its chakra, or life energy, into 9 beasts. When time passed, people became stronger and eventually sealed these entities away. There was problem with that, though. Only humans could hold them, they were called Jinchuriki. The power of human sacrifice. Blake said with wide eyes. Correct. Naruto said, taking off his shirt. Muscles, I know you're proud of them, but you don't have Yang began to joke, but Naruto made a hand sign as he said, release. There was a poof of smoke, and when it was gone the others were horrified. Naruto wasn't the usual muscles they knew, on his stomach were strange signs, and FORMATIONS his seal, and his body was covered in scars. The most noticeable was a scar right under his heart. What the hell? Yang said in disbelief. The part with Jinchuriki is where I came in. I was the jailer for the strongest of the tailed beast, the rwby. Is that what made those scars? Ruby asked. They were all surprised to hear Naruto laugh. No. The rwby couldn't do anything to me physically. In fact, our lives were linked. If I were to die, so would he. Technically? Purah asked. Well, the rwby was a mass of life energy. Energy never dies, it can only transfer, recreating himself if he didn't find a host worthy. Then where are they from? Weiss asked. Naruto looked away. The rwby was under mind control. It attacked our village, and my father sealed it in the best person he thought for the job. He continued. You? How could a father do that to his own son? Blake yelled. How can a father ask another to do something he himself wouldn't be willing to do? Naruto responded, stunning Blake. Naruto? Where are they from? Weiss asked again. Naruto was quiet for a while. Many of the villagers lost loved ones when rwby attacked. Naruto finally said. When you lose a loved one, there's hate. Hate inspires revenge, but the rwby had no family or friends. The closest they could get to hurting him was Naruto trailed off. The group was horrified, realizing what he was saying. Blake had seen her fair share of beatings and mistreatment from things she couldn't control, but this was on another level. The rest of the group always heard of things like this, even seen pictures, but seeing it right in front of them, their own friend no less, they were angry and ready to time travel back to the shinobi era and break every person who did him wrong. I can see it in your guys' eyes, don't worry. Naruto said with a cheerful smile. Blake, one of the many, was holding back tears, seeing a friend of hers having scars far worse than a Faunus hater could give her. How the hell can you smile? She said, a few tears escaping out of anger and sadness. Your father sealed a rampaging beast into you, practically making you the savior of your village. Then they turn around do this. Where was your father? she nearly yelled. Sealing someone as strong as the Kyuubi isn't so simple, any seal will do. My father used the strongest seal in existence to put the Kyuubi into me. The price, though, was his life. Naruto said solemnly, resting his head on the wall behind him. Your mother? Ruby asked. She died an hour after I had been born. So who kept you safe? Ruby asked. Why do you think I'm a good fighter now? I learned how to take care of myself young. The group was horrified. I had help from our village leader, the Hokage. He tried as hard as he could to prevent things, even assigning some of our top ninja tier, the Anbu, to protect me, but it's never that simple. Some of them lost loved ones from the attack, causing hate from them as well. Naruto continued to tell his friends his story, saying everything from his first bout with Sasuke to Jiraiya who got bad looks from most of the women until they turned into tears hearing of his connection to Naruto and his sudden death, and finally to his final fight with Sasuke. He skipped the war part, trying to avoid the question which he knew he'd have to answer anyways. It's sad, but being a ninja sounds awesome. Running up walls. Disappearing. Breathing fire. In truth, I'd much rather be a hunter. Naruto said solemnly, looking down. What? Why? They're the same, but ninjas are awesomer. Ruby said excitedly. No, we weren't. We weren't awesome at all. He said, seemingly retracting into himself. I gotta agree with Ruby, you save people, beat bad people, run up walls and get superhuman strength. How is it not awesome? Yang spoke up. The rest, though hated the ones that hurt Naruto, thought the ninjas were in fact awesome. This is what I wanted to avoid, Ruby, you see what hunters do? Bring in bad guys. Thwart evil plans. That wasn't what we shinobi were. What do you mean the rest were curious? If you needed help, there was a price. You wanted protection, pay appropriately for the service. Need help, same thing. I don't see where this is going. You needed someone dead, we asked how big the body bag should be. You wanted to send a message to a rival, we asked how bloody Naruto finished, making everyone even more wide-eyed at what he said. We weren't heroes, Ruby. We lie, we cheat, we steal. If you had information we needed, you were tortured. If you betray the village, you'd be killed by your own friends. Oh okay, I get it. No, you don't. You wanted someone hurt, we'd run up walls for assassination targeting, use that superhuman strength to turn your bones to dust, then fire to burn the remains. We're trained from the age of 8 to smith, survive and kill. I, myself, got my first kill at the age of 12. Everyone stayed silent, staring at Naruto who was glaring at his hands, as if he was angry that they never forgot his skills. A good friend of mine was trained to be emotionless. He was raised with one other, they went through missions together, watched each other's backs, then they were forced to kill each other. The group was absolutely horrified. Why are you telling us this? Purah asked. Naruto continued glaring at his hands until it turned into a sad look to the floor. The age I'm from shouldn't be glorified. You can say all you want, but look around. Don't see any ninjas besides me, huh? That's why I hate ninja movies. Naruto said. The crew was silent, which is exactly what Naruto feared. He opened his past up to loved ones, now he'd probably lose them, memories of being called a demon and monster plagued his mind. So I know that's not it. Are you going to finish? Weiss asked, surprising Naruto. What? You don't think I'm a demon? Meh, I've heard worse. Okay, I haven't, but I'm trying to lighten the mood. Yang said. Naruto, whatever you were in the past doesn't matter. You're our friend now. John added. And, I claim you as mine now. Weiss stated, arm around Naruto's neck. Stay away from him, you cow. Yang originally never intended to do anything to Naruto, but she couldn't just let Weiss stain her pride. What was that, sir? She retorted. This was a low blow at Weiss's insecurity of her breast size. But to Yang, overkill was underrated. It must be easy to wash your back in the shower. Oh, that's a chest. The argument was about to escalate into a battle until Naruto stood quickly. Ultimate reverse harem jutsu. Naruto yelled, putting more chakra. All the shirtless men around the women caused them all to fly back with nosebleeds, even the innocent Ruby and crazy Nora. Well. What should we do now? Ren asked. I don't know, what do you think, Naruto? John asked him. I think Raymond sounds good right now. Chapter 19. Right when things calmed down. It's been 2 months since Naruto's first mission, he and the rest being in class and taking smaller missions like the one that brought back bad memories. Recapturing pets. Currently, though, the crew was in class, listening to Professor Port's story on how he defeated his first Grim. Naruto nudged at Yang, bet you he's gonna finish with a grueling, inspiring tale, is it not? Naruto joked. SHHHHHH, that's disrespectful 5 lean. Yang said. And that's how I killed my first Grim. A grueling, inspiring tale, is it not? The professor spoke to the kids, all looking bored out of their minds. Yang whispered a curse and handed Naruto the money. Don't wanna be that guy, but what the hell does that have to do with us killing Grim? A student in the back of the class spoke. Professor Port looked disappointed. Well mister, he took a second to look at his roll sheet. Kazuraryu, it is of utmost. He was cut off by the school bell ringing. Welp, saved by the bell, later teach. The student said as he exited, leaving an angry-looking professor. Naruto alone froze, Blake not fully understanding the name, but knowing it was an old name. Nah, I'm imagining things. I would have noticed way earlier if he was a threat. Naruto thought to himself as they all left for the cafeteria. Naruto joined both rwby and JNPR at the table they were sitting at, Weiss at his side. So about the rest of your history, Ruby asked. What about it? Naruto replied. Can you tell us any awesome fights you had? I mean, only if you want to. Ruby started off excited but slowly stopped, remembering how Naruto got when they last talked about their past. I see, I shouldn't have acted that way, now they think I'm a walking minefield. Well, there isn't much harm, what exactly do you want to hear? Ooh, have you ever fought anyone with awesome weapons? Naruto choked on his food when he thought about it. For some reason, he thought of Orochimaru's endless sword and then he remembered where it was kept. Are you okay? Weiss asked as she smacked his back. Naruto coughed a few times, but was alright overall. There were a few, but one had a cool concept but a horrible delivery. What? The Kusanagi. It was the endless blade, continuously growing. Why did you say it had bad delivery? Weiss asked. Oh, I bet you want to know all about his delivery. Yang joked, causing some to laugh and the rest to turn red and look away. No, not like that. But well, he kept it inside him. Naruto said after laughing. Wait, what? Ren asked. All I can think is that he had a seal at the back of his throat or something because he'd shoot the sword out of his mouth. The rest saw what he meant by bad delivery. But there was a cool sword, it was called Samahade. It was a living being and 8 chakra are equivalent to aura. Naruto kept back the info about chakra being a mix of aura and semblance. If he told them, they'd probably try to mimic it and hurt themselves. Their bodies weren't conditioned enough to use life force to fuel their moves. Oh my gosh, that's pretty. Ouch. The group turned to see a random leader and his team bullying a Fronis girl. This got the rest angry and Naruto stood, about to confront them, but was beat. Leave her alone. The leader looked and was surprised to see Team CRDN looking at him with discontent. Wahahaha, what's wrong? Suddenly become a tree hugger. You would have been doing this if it wasn't me. The guy said, he and his team laughing. They're probably right. But, I met a Fronis I can respect. He said as he glanced in Naruto's direction. He looked back and said, so let go of her and leave her alone. Hardin was bumped from behind, the kid from the earlier class bumping him while walking past. He wore wireless headphones which were basically exploding with music, Naruto and his crew being able to hear the song, and they were 3 tables over. Encore Jay-Z Linkin Park. BFFFT, you even let him bump you with no repercussions. He deserves my respect. The random teen said, putting his hand up, but Kazuraryu walked past without even glancing. The teen didn't take too lightly to that. He threw an empty bowl at the back of the teen's head, hitting him and causing the headphones to fall off. I put my hand up. If I do that, you high five or you high die. The teen attempted to pun. Ooh. Yang, the queen of bad puns, showed her disapproval. Shut up. Kazuraryu picked up his headphones, dusting it and checking if things were alright with it. After he saw it was okay, he pulled his scroll out from his pocket. He looked at the group and then back at his scroll, selecting a song Wild Boy MGK. What the hell is that bullshit you're playing? Kazuraryu put his headphones on and began hopping in place, mumbling. What was that? Kazuraryu ran and jumped, drop-kicking the teen in his face, jumping off and flipping. He jumped again, going past one teen, but grabbing his HEAD the RKO. The other 2 were stunned. Scratch that, everyone was stunned. Even Naruto was surprised at what happened, but recovered and jumped in. Dynamic entry. He yelled as he used Gai Sensei's signature move on one of the remaining teens. Both of them raised and knocked the last out with Kai alone. Naruto turned to fist bump Kazuraryu, but he was already walking away, furiously headbanging repeating I'm a wild boy, I'm a wild boy. Weird dude. What have you done to these students? Glinda Goodwitch said as she was furiously walking towards them. She finally got something she could put him down truthfully for. Well, wait, hold on. He looked back for Kazuraryu, but he was already gone. Oh, that is bull. Come with me this instant. Glinda said, pulling him to the detention room. Everyone else was still shocked. Yang, again, voiced what everyone was thinking. What the hell just happened? Chapter 20. Punishment. Naruto was currently getting the lecture of a lifetime from Glinda, though it couldn't really be seen since he was just sitting with a bored expression. This fueled her to prolong her lecture, talking more until, like at the police station, he sniffed another presence and Osborne walked in, sighing. "Please tell me why you hurt those students." "Okay, now I'm no snitch, but I only took one guy out, the last was a joint effort, but I'm pretty sure he would have taken him alone. There was another student involved." Osborne intervened, "We already know who was involved, Dr. Rublik is on his way with." "How did you find out?" "Surveillance cameras." Osborne stated simply. "What, then you know what happened?" "Yes, and I wanted to know why you intervened. From what I saw, Mr. Cazarelli had everything handled, why put yourself in trouble when he, himself, could handle the situation?" "Well, I don't know. I saw them, I saw a bad thing happening, and I saw my ability to help." Naruto responded with the same simple tone Osborne responded with before. Though Goodwitch was angry at her fellow blonde's simple logic, Osborne wasn't afraid to crack a genuine smile. "That is an admirable feat. I hope you keep that way of thinking," he said, still smiling. "Osborne, you can't be sir." As Kami loved to mess up Naruto's luck, it seemed he loved to interrupt Professor Goodwitch. The door to the detention room shot open as Cazarelli walked in, music still blaring in his headphones. Prof's Dr. Ublik followed suit not seconds after. "Thank you for bringing him, Dr. Ublik." Osborne thanked, giving a head nod of appreciation. "Yes, well, such was not an easy task. Every corner I turned, he was already at the end of a hallway." It did not help that his headphones were on. Professor Ublik. "Doctor?" "Hey, my story dude. Quite down." Dr. Ublik whispers to Ublik happy. Said. "Is there anything else you need me for?" he asked. "Not that I currently know, you can go about your business." Ublik left and Goodwitch addressed Cazarelli. "Well, attempted to." For 3 full minutes she attempted to yell at the teen, though the scene was comical. You could hear the music coming from the teen's headphones and it was obvious that her lectures were falling on deaf ears. "And electronics are not to be used during class hours," she said. "Oh, but we're allowed to walk around with weapons of mass destruction?" he asked, surprising everyone. "You can hear with those blasting?" Naruto asked, amazed. "Nope. But I'm good at reading lips, Whiskers," he said, surprising Naruto with a nickname. "Well, now that we can converse, please tell me why the leader of Team Kafiev, Brown in Bulgarian, beat down his fellow first years." "Oh, that dude. He threw a bowl at me." "That does not give you grounds to resort to physical violence," Glinda yelled. "He almost broke my headphones." "You broke his nose." "Damn straight." Glinda opened her mouth to argue, but just gave a deep sigh as she face-palmed, recompassing herself. It was clear anything she said would be put down with his barbaric logic. "Although your logic can be sympathized, I'm afraid you can't go unpunished," Osborne said, quietly sipping his mug. "Welp, new shit would happen when I did it," Kay said as he grabbed a chair and turned it towards him, sitting reversed. "What's to come, oh great and powerful Oz?" Naruto snickered. "So what is going to happen?" Glinda, it seems I've forgotten some documents on my desk, can you please grab them?" Glinda felt uneasy, she knew he just wanted her out so he could give a reward rather than discipline. She quickly tried to think of an argument, but her train of thought was cut off when Osborne gave her a closed-eye smile. She got mad, he knew she could never say no to that. How are ninjas so good at that? She huffed as she stomped off to his office. As the door closed, Osborne looked to the 2 students in front of him. "Your punishment is simple, Mr. Uzumaki," he said as he extended his hand. Naruto took it and was surprised when Osborne literally just gave him a slap on the wrist. "Now Mr. Cazarelli, because you did more damage, I believe your punishment will be a sparring match. You and your partner will face off against 2 teams. If you win, you will have no punishment." "If I lose?" Kaze asked warily. "I imagine Ms. Verdi wouldn't take too kindly to that," Osborne said with a slight smirk. Naruto didn't know what was going on, but he saw Cazarelli lose the color in his tanned face. Wow, let's not be hasty about things," he said shakily. Naruto chuckled, but then gulped. The kid had the balls to speak up to Glinda. He paled a bit at wondering just who this Verdi was. "Then it seems we are at an agreement, your opponents will Pura Nikos of Team JNPR and Yang Xiaolong of Team RWBY. Hey scoffed, that's it?" he asked. Naruto was about to speak up for his friends, but Osborne cut in. "I see we have a thrill seeker. You and your partner now to fight both Team RWBY and Team JNPR," Osborne said, amused. "Osborne, I don't want to sound like an arrogant bastard, but me and my brother can give the Elysian army a run for their money." "Quite the claim. It seems we will be in for quite the match then. The spar will be in 2 days. I will notify the teams." "Yeah, sure," he said, not amused in the slightest. He got up and walked away with a smile on his face. On the roof. "You always gotta say something," one figure said to Cazarelli. "The SHH, you know you've had your eyes on them for a while now." Shit, you're sleeping with the loud one's sister. He said chuckling. While winter and my business is ours alone. Yeah, don't worry. Keeney and Keely won't find out. Plus, it's been a while since we actually went tag team, Mr. Furuenric Kazureru said. The names you chose were stupid. He knows Japanese. Come on Ben. You know we both don't care if he knows. Plus, he's been listening to us since we got here. On cue, Naruto stepped out of the staircase to the roof with a smirk. You know, that whole sensing wind is a bit off, Naruto said. Oh, and your teleporting isn't. Kazureru said laughing. I still want a rematch fucker. Whatever, but seriously. The names really were obvious. Kazureru Wind Lightning Dragon and Furuenric Dragon of Tremors. Just why is the Revolutionary Army here? Well, in school. No real reason. We just decided to further our ed exam, busted out laughing along with Ben. Oh god, I can't say that with a straight face. But seriously, we got nothing better to do. Well, he does. Sam said, pointing to Ben. Sex jokes aside, don't worry. We have no intention of destroying this school or anything about it. Some students are a different story, but the rest of are safe. Ben said. So what exactly is your guys' goal? Naruto asked. Simple. A just society. We destroy the villains who would flaunt their power around. Ben said. And we break the heroes who would do it for unjust reasons. Sam finished. Naruto chuckled at them. So young, so intent on changing the world for the better, but in the wrong way. Naruto turned around. All I know is, if you truly hurt my friends outside of the spar, I won't kill you. But you'll wish I did. He said as he walked away from the roof. What if Konoha reads Naruto and rwby harem? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.